All right. Wow. Great way to start the stream. Again. Alright, I think that was a success. We'll see. I was able to go ahead and find where the saves are, copy it down to my computer. Tried loading the game a few times without those saves in place. And it didn't have any saves, so that's great. Brought it back and come back here, so it looks like I'll be able to just
scout flies are always in red boxes.
overwrite the save file, so I do not have to do Geyser Rock every time, which again, nothing against Geyser Rock, it's great. I should probably have made sure that I did everything on Geyser Rock, like I was gonna miss anything. That's the point. It's such a basic, easy thing. It's not a part of the challenge, really. It's just waiting for them to tell you every little thing, and stopping you, and making you stop and listen to the communicator, and talking over you. Every single time. I just couldn't. I can't anymore, so I think that's gonna be part of my my rule set is that I will skip Geyser Rock every time. And you wonderful people can just sit and watch my face every time I die for a few minutes while I go into the file structure and paste over with the old files.
Hey!
Little furry dude! It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I think that one change will save me so much time. It will just feel a lot less crushing to start over, knowing I don't have to do Geyser Rock again. Just go move a file, copy paste, bada boom, bada bang. Can do, no problem. Yeah, that sounds a lot more palatable to me. I'm also a little bit disappointed in myself. I've got a couple nice desktops that I've built over the years.
What a weird looking thing!
I built my first computer
We can get this open if you power up with
that I've ever built
zappy
myself
blue
in
eco stuff.
2019. And it was good. It wasn't a top of the line, but it was new hardware. It was a second gen Ryzen. It was a Ryzen 7 2700X.
Yeah, bring in the cops.
And I originally paired it with 2070. It was a great machine. It ran great. But then shortly after my build is when they announced the 30 series. And if you are into PCs, PC gaming, anything like that, PC hardware, I guess, is mainly where it's at. You will know that the 30 series launch, 30 series of GPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, when they announced the 30 series, people were hyped. People were so stoked because they looked like they were showing impressive gains, a good generational leap, better than they'd seen in a while, better than they put out in a while. And the price to performance was incredibly appealing. It was just, it seemed like a great deal on paper. And it would have been a great deal if they hadn't been bought out the second they were launched, essentially. This was a great GPU shortage, essentially. This is what happened there. And for close to a year, you just couldn't get graphics cards for reasonable prices. They had all been scalped. They were all just absolutely impossible to find, and just a pain in the butt to upgrade. But again, if you remember, before they were actually out,
Let's go talk to him.
God, before they were out, there was so much excitement for them. People were selling off their 20 series cards at just like a loss. And during that time, before it came out, I picked up a 2080 Super that somebody was selling on eBay for, I guess it was like $300 or $400, which is absolutely a steal for that card. So I upgraded my 2070 and I ended up selling it. I did sell it to my brother-in-law. I think I charged him like $100 or something, which is not what a 2070 was worth even then, but just because he and I are like that. Like, I knew he was going to pay for it. He knew I was going to try to get him to pay less for it, so we haggled backwards. He tried to bring me up. I tried to bring him down. It's a good relationship. I like the guy a lot. He's a really good guy.
All right! You found all the scout flies in this area. This must be a precursor oracle like the sage always goes on about. I hope they weren't as
That
ugly
was better.
in
It wasn't great, but it was better. Come on, guys, give me some credit here. But yeah, so essentially, in 2019, I built a decent PC, and then upgraded to be really quite a little powerhouse. I love that computer, and that ran really well for a long time.
We scrounged enough orbs to trade for a power cell.
But
Let's
I mean,
get
to be
back and
perfectly
make the
honest, I
switch
wanted an
already.
upgrade. It was showing a little bit of age. It wasn't bad by any means. I could definitely kept living with this PC for a while. And I've upgraded small things over time. Added an additional hard drive for more storage. I bumped up the capacity of my SSD. In that time, I've also built myself a NAS for home use. So I've got personal cloud storage for myself, and a media server that I run a Minecraft server off my NAS for my kids. And my buddy and I for a while play on that server with us. It was a good time. And I still run the server. That's not going anywhere, not for quite some time. But mainly I just wanted to build a new computer. My kids play games on them, and to be honest, they were starting to kind of fight over who got to use the computer. My two older boys both thought it was cool, so it was a good excuse to build a new PC. So I built one recently, a couple months ago. I built a brand new PC, and I went all Team Red this time. Not because I am Team Red, but just because those are the parts that made sense for the build for the most part, considering the fact that I wanted to do it all locally at Micro Center. Micro Center's not a local business. Obviously, they're nationwide, but I could pick up all the parts. I could get them when I was ready to build, make sure they're all there at the same time. Any returns, any problems, I'm going back to the same place. It makes sense to me to go there, and they've got competitive pricing anyway, so it's not like I was, paying a premium for it. Like if I'd hunted around, maybe I could have saved a few bucks here or there, but I got a lot of stuff on a good sale at Micro Center too. So, what am I running now? I think it's a 7700X is the CPU, and I'm running a 7800 XT, I believe. I'd have to double check on that machine out there. So anyway, it's a powerful computer. It's great, and it would be great to use for my streaming. But again, because my kids play games on the computers, I set it up in our family room, so that my kids can use it when they're playing games together and play next to each other. That's where the other computer is. So there's a couple monitors out there now, and they play next to each other so they can talk and have fun together, and that's great. I love that. But when I want to come stream, it's nighttime. Kids are sleeping. Things are theoretically supposed to be quiet in the house, so I don't want to be out there in the open. We've got a fairly open floor plan. And I'm just worried any noises would echo and wake up kids or wake up my wife, and so I'm in the office, so I have I've got my laptop going through a little relatively cheap Thunderbolt dock. So I'm running the game and the stream off of a laptop instead of like my powerful actual hardware that I bought and that I put together, and that love that machine. It's so fun when I get a chance to use it. It plays everything I can throw at it so far. It's good quality. I'm not having too many driver issues like I know some people do, and I've got the current gen of GPU, which AMD, honestly, they need to work on keeping their drivers up to date, getting things running for games. So, but I mean, that said, I haven't personally had too many problems. I've had a couple weird crashes that typically kind of resolve themselves. I haven't had any persistent issues or anything like that. So, I can't really complain too much. It's been good for me. But yeah, I guess the point of that is I'm running this whole setup off a laptop when I could be running it off of, I don't know, just not exactly like the best computer money can buy right now, but a pretty powerful desktop that could absolutely handle all this. And not break a sweat at all. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if there's a realistic way that I could easily pass an HDMI or display port through the wall, because it is just literally on the other side of the wall to my right. And then a USB cable and a display cable through the wall. That way I can run it on that PC and I'll just go out there and turn it on when he's not using it. So like now I could be running off that desktop in the other room, keep the noise in the other room, keep the noise out of the stream, because yeah, it does have some decent fans and the fan noise can get kind of loud when it ramps up. Not that I'm super worried about it in here. I think it'd be just fine. But I'm not sure I've got long enough cables or that I'm committed enough to this idea to do it. I've also toyed with the idea of just essentially copying all my kid's files, all his Minecraft worlds and whatever else he's got, move it over on the NAS and basically swap. So leave the laptop out there, set up the dock out there. He's not really going to notice any difference. He's, you know, he's a kid. He's not playing a bunch of demanding games. He's not really into hardware at this point. He's not really into tech. He's not gonna, again, it's gonna run Minecraft just as well as the other computer will. So I'm thinking maybe I move the dock out there, the laptop out there, and he plays off the laptop. I move the PC in here, but again, then there's a slight concern about noise and also just heat as well. Being in an enclosed room over here, it gets warm sometimes right now, so adding that just additional heat source of a, you know, powerful desktop, is it going to be worth it? I do kind of like the idea of just, again, creating a pass-through in my wall, running a display port cable through. It's probably not more than, I don't know, like a 10-foot cable would probably be just fine. You can do 10-foot display port. I'm confident of that. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing that and running off a little better hardware. For Jak and Daxter, again, it runs natively on everything I've tried it on, and I am not too worried about it streaming and playing on this. But again, if I want to keep streaming and I want to do anything more heavy, anything that is a little bit higher usage, I guess, more intense, I kind of want to be ready for that as well. But it's just complicated. Again, we've got 4 kids and my wife is running her own business, and we need this room to stay relatively clear. It's her office as well. You can see her setup behind me. So she needs to have access to this whenever she needs it. She's obviously first priority. She's the breadwinner for the family, and she's working her ass off and doing a great job. So that's first priority. Is if I make any changes, it needs to be done at times that will not impact her at all, because when she needs to work, she needs to work, and she works a lot. So fortunately, right now she's got some clients that she goes into their office. Right now, 3 days a week. I think it's going to change to 2 in the new year, most likely. But still, she's in the office and she's in there all day. So on those days, I have some time where I can play around with things. Like the desk that she has there is fairly new. She bought that in a charity auction a few months ago. It's a nice desk, sit-stand desk. It's from the company Uplift, which I didn't know much about. They seem fine. Their products are quite expensive. I was a bit surprised at the price they listed it on, because it doesn't seem that much nicer than the desk I'm using, which there's about a $1,500 price difference in the desks. I think I paid $300 for the one that I'm using. It's a sit-stand desk. It's a good size. It's got plenty of room. It's got a little bit of an angle to it at a certain part. I don't know. Point is, it's a decent desk. I think it cost me $300, $350 for a nice sit-stand desk. And again, the one that she bought is listed online for I want to say it was like $1,800, and like, yeah, it's a little bit bigger than the desk that I've got, and it's But it doesn't seem that much nicer to me. Like, it's still like a laminate board. It's a thicker board, I'll give it that. It's a thicker desk. And it is slightly more desk because she's got the L in it, and she does have a little more desk space, but man, just that is a big price difference. And the controls for it, I mean, it's a simple up-down button. There's no storing presets. There's no, I mean, there's nothing. It's a basic up and down. It did come with a nice lamp, a touch-sensitive lamp, and some other, I guess, kind of cool stuff. But I don't know. It's not impressive enough for me to be like, oh yeah, I can clearly see the 5x price increase justified because they used this material instead of that. Like, no, the materials they feel comparable in terms of how sturdy they are. They feel like they're going to be about the same longevity. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this desk is going to die in a year and that one's going to keep going for another 20. I don't know. But regardless, it's a nice desk. I'm glad it's there. And this just only came up because I was saying again, I set up the desk during a night and a day that she was gonna be gone working, and I took that time to set it all up and moved a bunch of other furniture out of here. It was a decent sized job. It wasn't, I'm not gonna say like took me all weekend or even all night and all day or anything. Like, I took a couple hours one night and a couple hours the next day while she was at work, and my kid was napping because gotta work around that schedule too. And got it all set up, and that's probably what I would do as well. I need to, before it was an office, it was a craft room, and now all the crafting and painting stuff is still over here to my right. I gotta clean all that out, organize it in a way that the stuff that Stephanie can still use and use relatively quickly without a whole lot of setup and hassle, she still has access to, because it's a good way for her to relax, and quite frankly, she deserves that right now. She's doing so much. She's so busy. She got sick as well. She's had a rough afternoon, so I feel bad. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just the reality of life is sometimes you get sick, and you got to just keep trucking through it. So she soldiered on. We had our second oldest child today had a birthday party. He went out to go roller skating. And it was a good time. He had a fun time, I think. I haven't taught my kids anything about skating or anything like that, so this was a new experience for him. A few weeks ago, once we got the invitation, I went out and got a pair of adjustable rollerblades. I haven't seen these before. It was kind of wild to me. They make these adjustable rollerblades that you know, they're from size 3 to 6, and there's a little button on the side, and you can expand them, and it was pretty cool. So yeah, I got him the size that fits, and got him some pads and a helmet, and we started practicing rollerblading in the house to the point where he was confident he was going to do well. I showed up, I dropped him off, left to run some errands in that area because it was about a 40-minute drive away from our house, and it was a 2-hour party. So you figure if I dropped him off, get him settled and ready to go, it's probably going to be 10 minutes, 15 minutes after the party has started, so into that 2-hour block before I'm leaving. And then it takes me another 40 minutes to get home, and then 40 minutes to get back there. Like, I'd be coming home to turn around and go right back, but I didn't want to sit at the party all the whole time. It's just not my kind of thing. Just didn't feel like doing that, so I ran some errands in that part of town. And on my way back, I realized this was actually... I can't believe I didn't notice this earlier, since I've lived around the same area, relatively speaking. I've been in the same metro area since I was a kid. Since I was 4, basically, barring a couple times away for college and a couple years serving a Mormon mission overseas in Argentina. So, but I've been around the area for most of the time. I didn't realize that I was right by the house that I grew up in. We moved to this house when I was 4. We moved from California to this house, and it was a good house, but my parents had been doing well and kind of the neighborhood maybe hadn't been doing quite as well, so they wanted to get out, get a bigger, nicer house, and so we moved to an area not too far away, but just, you know, a little bit nicer, a little bit bigger house. I was in that house from the time I was 13 to, well, my parents aren't there anymore, but my sister rents from them, so it's still in the family, and I still go over there fairly frequently to see my sister and my niece and nephew and my brother-in-law. He's the guy that I sold the GPU to. And yeah, so they're still there, that house is still there, but I ended up, after I picked my kid up, because I didn't notice I was on my way back to get him, and I'm not going to say short on time, but I didn't want to be there a whole lot longer. I didn't leave myself a lot of wiggle room, I guess is more accurate, and I didn't want to go back up to the neighborhood. It was a couple miles away from where his party was, so, you know. I wanted to make sure that once I was at Skate City that I could go get him and then come back and... Oh, did I not do that? Man, I am not paying attention right now. Yeah, so anyway, I went and after I picked him up, we went back to that neighborhood and I showed him the house that I grew up in when I was his age, and he was like, oh, that's cool, and went back to his tablet. I looked at the elementary school I went to growing up. It's changed quite a bit, I think. I mean, I honestly don't remember what it looked like, but the building looks so new that I think they had to have torn it down and just built a new one in the same place, because there's no way it looked like that when I was a kid. I don't remember what it looked like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we just had like the nicest elementary school, but in the neighborhood it's in, I doubt that. I think that it's a recent building and they've just done some they replaced it. Yeah, they took the old building down, they replaced it with a new one, is what I would bet happened, because again, it looked nice. It looked really good. The middle school that I went to when I was out there is now, I think, a high school. And it is not a new building. It looks like a building that I went to school in 20 years ago. Ow. Well, fuck.
Hey, Jack, can I have your inside collection?
Well, this is good, though, because now I can show you guys that I was having a problem before. I'd already told you guys that I was having some issues where if I clicked on any other window other than the game, it just completely minimized, just went away, and that drove me crazy. Drove me absolutely crazy. I didn't know what to do about it, so I did some research, figured it out, and it's because I was running in full screen and not borderless, which is essentially full screen, but still is a window. So it still keeps focus, it still keeps on top when I click other places, so that's good. I was able to figure that out. I'm quite happy, quite happy. Alright, 952. Sorry, you're getting replaced. Replace those files in the destination. Bala. Bringing the game back up. Bear with me for just a moment. Now, let's see. Did that work, or am I going to look like a complete fool? Alright, we got this going. Pull the game back up. Load game. Hell yeah, brother. Can skip guys a rock now, people. How awesome is that? See? That's why you gotta be creative. Think outside the box. Keep a save file that skips the most monotonous parts of the game so that you don't have to do them every time. I'm sure I'm the first person to have thought of that. To be clear, no. Obviously, of course, I think that's a common thing they do in the speedrunning community. Is you'll keep save files that have like a predetermined start point, things like that. So, man, I can't believe I just walked into a log. That was fucking dumb. Oh well. Again, I'm mostly here just to have fun, to hang out, to chill, to play a game I like. Oh, I still don't know what I'm gonna do. If this starts taking me too long and I'm not making any progress and I'm just getting frustrated, then Yeah, we'll change it out to every death I do push-ups, or every death I have to do something stupid for the stream or something. I don't know. Make it somehow, or it makes it still fun and challenging, and maybe even something that is transferable to other games. A whole system set up where, you know, every time I screw up, or if it's a harder game, I screw up X number of times or whatever, then I have something that I have to do, some type of way to keep it interesting and keep the challenge on a little bit.
I bet you can get this open if you power up with that zappy blue eco stuff.
I do not recall hearing that dialogue for many of the times I've gone through this. I don't know what happened there. That's cool though. Yeah, bird lady. Come here, Farmer John. I'm gonna kick you in the face, cow. Now, where are you going? No, that way. Good cow. Gotta milk those yak cows. Gotta milk those yak cows. Alright, Mr. Cow. Go. 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 Hiya! I'm gonna miss the gate because I'm too busy abusing the animals. You'll be my last one. I always think that this patch of fur on their back just kind of looks like a weird, ugly toupee somebody just slapped on these creatures. Especially when you're looking directly behind them, it looks like a bad comb over. I don't know, it looks bad. It's things like that that really remind you of the age of these games. But yeah, with these HD texture packs that I've got from, oh man, I don't know. It's great though. It looks a lot cleaner, crisper. It's just a more enjoyable experience to play through. I always thought as a kid that these little like hydroponic beds over there, that they should have had something that they were gonna do with that. Like, and maybe there was something planned. I don't know.
Lazy farmer owes us a power cell. Let's go talk to him.
I just think it's such a cool little environmental touch. Just these beds of plants planted in pools of water. It's just so interesting because you don't, I don't know, maybe that's a common thing in farming. I'm not a farmer. I don't know jack shit about farming. But that's not the kind of thing I would expect to see if I think of like a farmer. So yeah, I just thought that was cool. It was a cool little touch. It's something I enjoyed being in the game, even though it does nothing for the game. And there's little touches like that in a lot of places that just make it fun to exist in this world that is, you know, close to ours. Looks like it's gonna be a place on Earth a little bit, but different enough that it keeps you interested and keeps you looking around like, oh, look at that. What? Wonder what that stuff coming out of the top of their house is. Why do they build that way? Like, this world is powered by magical juice called eco, and that's just, I don't know, it makes it relatable but still new enough to be interesting and keep your attention. So yeah, that's part of the reason I probably keep coming back to this game. It's just it caught my imagination as a kid. So now at this point I'm just gonna, I guess, stop at like the maturity of a 12-year-old.
Like the sage always goes on about. I hope they weren't as ugly in person.
Alright, well, last time we lost in the Forbidden Jungle just of me being careless and not paying attention. Let's see if we can do better this time. And just again to reiterate for anybody that that missed it the other times, I was able to figure out how to save my save files, make a copy after I cleared Geyser Rock, so if I do die again, at least we're skipping that god-awful tutorial level that just takes so long to get through. And it's probably not that long, really. It's probably just a couple minutes. It just feels painful every time they stop you in your tracks and make you wait for the communicator to tell you what it needs to tell you about whatever's happening, and it just, we don't need that. I absolutely 100% promise I can get through Geyser Rock every time with no deaths. I'm not worried about that cheapening the experience. I say that as I walk into a static enemy. My goodness, that was impressive. Maybe I couldn't get through Geyser Rock. Oh well, it's done. It's happening. I'm not doing that level anymore. I'm done with Geyser Rock. And to be clear, again, it's good for what it is. It's an entertaining enough tutorial where you actually get to use the mechanics, and there are a couple little places where you could miss some precursor orbs if you don't know what's down there when you have to drop down onto the beach or something like that. It's not a bad tutorial level as a tutorial level. It's just a tutorial level that I don't want to do every time I start over, so we're skipping it. That's the new thing going forward. I'm not doing Geyser Rock every time. Sorry if that's your favorite part of the game and that's the whole reason you're here. It's just, it's not for me. Ooh, those piranha are scary. And if you've been watching for any amount of time, you know that I don't really have a set strategy for how I go through these levels. I'm not here about efficiency or the quickest way. I'm not doing a speed run. I'm just playing through the game. I'm just having fun. And again, doing my best to not die. So we'll see if I can man, if I can just finish out Misty Island tonight, that would be amazing. If I can get all the way through Forbidden Jungle, Sandover Village, Sentinel Beach, and Misty Island tonight, and get to the Fire Canyon. Man, heck, I might even implement some type of like checkpoint system for right now, since I'm not doing as well as I had hoped originally, and might save that save file too. So if I ever decide that I get like one death or something like that, one death per area, or once I clear a world that counts, I don't know. We'll see what happens, and if people decide that they want to start watching and have opinions on that, they're welcome to share them, and we'll see how that goes. Because again, right now this is 100% for me, but if people enjoy it and think that it'd be cool to do it one way instead of another, I'm happy to at least entertain those ideas. Yeah, so like I was saying, took my kid to a birthday party today, and man, they went the whole afternoon. And since it was just one of my kids, my poor wife, who wasn't feeling well, was home with the other 3 children. And I think it was a pretty low-key day for them. I think she just basically let them play video games this morning and then got them lunch and sent them on their way downstairs to watch TV. It was that kind of a day. But again, I was out. I was gone for like 4 hours today. It was a busy day for me. Man, I showed up to pick up my kid. It was at Skate City, which is like a roller rink, as you can imagine. And he was there. Hey, he said he had a great time, and like, again, he's new to skating. He hasn't done very much of it. He skated around our house a few times, and even then, it's been probably a week since I could get him to put the skates on. He just had no interest. And I was like, don't you want to practice before you go to the party? No, I'm good. I figured it out. I got it. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be tired and sore. This is not a good idea. You should skate more, skate a little bit every day. And I just couldn't. And it wasn't worth the fight. I was like, well, we'll go. And I got there to pick him up, and it took me a while to find him out on the rink as far as like to watch the last few minutes and see how he was doing. And he was fine. Like I don't think he fell at all or anything like that. But he was so tired. His legs were giving out on the poor kid. He was just kind of like scooting along the wall by the end, which was when I saw him. I saw him at the end, so I'm sure he did great. I'm sure he had fun. It was just felt a little bit bad for him and a little bit bad that I haven't spent more time working on him with that type of stuff. But they get to do a lot of other things. He does martial arts, goes to classes weekly, really enjoys that. And we try to let the kids pick their own interests and let them kind of give them a catalog of options to choose from, things that they might be interested in. A couple of my kids were doing drawing classes through the local rec center, and my youngest doesn't do anything yet because he's almost 3, so not a whole lot of classes or special interest for him yet, but we'll probably sign him up for early preschool starting after he turns 3, so that's another thing I need to look into. So, you know, make a note on my calendar for me, please. I'm so funny, man. But yeah, I need to look in to see how much that's going to cost and what's available in our area, and that's something else to look forward to. But it'll be good. If he does go to preschool, it'll give me a little bit of free time to either pick up a part-time job since I'm not full-time dad, or just get more stuff done around the house. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. We'll see if we even get him into preschool. I don't know if there's any spots available. I've been told, because he was receiving some special assistance through the school district, or I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's through the town that I live in, or if it's through the school district, or exactly what. But he was a late talker. He didn't start talking till, I don't know, earlier this year, around April or May was when we started working through this group that helps identify kids that could use extra help and extra resources that are struggling with things. And he got tested and he qualified for speech therapy, for assistance. Oh goodness! Did not know I could kill him with the spikes out. Is that a thing you can do all the time? Man, I thought I knew this game. Turns out if you do the same section over and over and over and over again with no breaks, you might learn something new. Nope, can't do it. Good to know. It's worth a shot. Nope, 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 nope. Alright, he's dead. Put your face up, dude. I always love bosses like this. It's so dumb. It's like, oh no, you beat my minions. Let me show you my weak spot. And by love, I mean, like, I find them ridiculous but charming. It's like, what creature in the world would ever act that way? Like, oh, I'm defenseless. Please come hit my soft face. Like, I don't know. It just makes no sense, and I love it for that. Video game logic all the way. Now, games today are a lot more realistic, and that's great. Again, I love modern games. Baldur's Gate 3 is incredible. It's a masterpiece. I say that as someone who's only put like 20 or 30 hours into it, so I don't know, maybe it fucking sucks later. I really doubt it, given the praise and acclaim it's got, but I just am intimidated by that game, to be completely honest. It's one of those things where I really enjoy D&D, but I'm not good at it. I'm new to D&D. I'm not super into like the min-maxing and figuring out all the best strategies and stuff like that. So for me, this is like one of the, I don't know, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? One of the crunchiest ways I've played D&D. Like I'm most of my experience with D&D, at least most of my experience with D&D that I shouldn't say care about, but what sticks with me the most, because it's what I played most recently, and what we went furthest in, were campaigns where I was the DM. So I have a very strong preference, if I'm running the game, to be pretty lenient with the rules as far as the exact, I can't think of another word other than crunchy. other than I try to be lenient with like the crunchy mechanics. Like, I don't worry about, you know, oh, did you buy new arrows in this town? Do you have enough arrows to shoot? I'm like, if your character is a ranger, I'm just gonna assume that you took care of all that off screen, away from the table. When we went to the town, you stocked up on arrows and you have them. I'm not gonna make you count every single arrow, because that wasn't the kind of campaigns we were using. We didn't worry about encumbrance or anything like that. It's just, you know, carry what you want to carry, keep what you want with you. We're playing this game for the fun, the hanging out together, the telling a fun story together, and just, yeah, the mechanics are important for sure. But like again, I tried real hard not to ever, and I might have occasionally, but I tried hard to not fudge dice rolls, things like that, and to make it a real D&D experience. But also, like, if one of the guys playing at the table or girls, if one of the people at the table had a cool idea and said, hey, we're in this combat situation, and I've got this rope and this metal, and I wanna, you know, improvise a grappling hook and swing across to the other side. And here's how I would do it. I've got this strength. This is my strength. I can throw it this far. Here's how I want to do it, and they can line out a way that this thing that they want to do that is cool could reasonably, potentially, maybe be possible. And hell yeah, try it. See what happens. I'm all for that. Again, big dose of rule of cool in my games. If it's cool and you have a somewhat plausible explanation for how this is going to work, absolutely. Let's set a DC check. Let's DC check the redundancy there, that ATM machine. If you can come up with a good explanation, and the better the explanation, the better odds I'm going to give you on your dice roll, obviously. Like, if you're like, oh, well, here's the thing, I've got this item in my pack that is going to help me out, and here's how I'll use it, and here's why I think this could work, and here's the skills that I have that I've got proficiency in, and all this together is how I'm going to make this work, then absolutely. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Obviously, like, the dice still matter, the skill checks still matter. If you have this great idea and I set your DC at a 5 and it just doesn't pan out, you roll a 4 with your modifiers. Sorry, you tried, it didn't work. That's how it's going to be sometimes. But yeah, if you can work with it and have those creative ideas, I'm all down to support it. It's a huge part of why I play D&D. It's just for those cool moments and for people to have those good ideas and to run with them and to make them awesome. Like one of the first sessions I ever ran, my sister was there and one of her friends was there, and my sister's husband, and we were all playing together. I didn't start until after the pandemic, so it was 2020, 2021, somewhere in that time frame. It was probably 2021 because we were in person, and I know I laid low for most of 2020 just out of an abundance of caution. Got young kids and vulnerable parents at that time. They're not out here in Colorado anymore. They've moved away, so that's not as much of a concern. But still had young kids and just was trying to be careful. Anyway, one of the earliest sessions I remember DMing, I think my sister and one of her friends decided that they wanted to, there was some type of like hedge maze. I don't remember exactly how it was set up, and they got lost. They got super lost, and I was a new DM. I didn't know exactly the best way to help them, but I kind of suggested if they could get up higher, they might be able to get the lay of the maze and maybe help them figure out how to get through it. And they decided that, well, one of them had chosen to play as a dwarf. I brought some like pre-made characters. This was like a really early test session before anybody wanted to create their own or anything. They were just saying, hey, is this a fun game? Is this something we're going to enjoy? They decided they were going to take their dwarf character and have a different character who was, I think, a barbarian or a fighter, some type of martial, strength-based class with just a high strength modifier, and another one of the characters, and together they were gonna, like, because they tried to cut through the hedges and they were very thick and sturdy. They were gonna try to toss the dwarf up on top of the hedges. And I was like, okay, I just want to be clear about how we're gonna play this. If you're gonna throw your characters to the maximum limits of your strength, like, gravity is still a thing. They're going to fall. You're gonna have to make checks to make sure you throw them high enough, and if you throw them high enough, then they're gonna have to make checks to see if they can grab onto the top, and then if they don't grab onto the top, then you're gonna have to make new checks at a pretty high difficulty level to try to catch them, to stop them from, you know, breaking their neck. You're trying to throw them to the top of these 20-foot high walls, and like obviously like the damage in D&D wouldn't have killed them. They wouldn't have broken their neck, but they would have definitely taken a substantial amount of damage for level 1 players. So, and I try to be fair and adjudicate things that they want to do, and give them the opportunity to try things, but also remind them that, like, all right, you're adventurers, but like you're still mortal beings. Like you can't do everything you want to. So yeah, I mean, absolutely come up with these great ideas. Let's try them. Let's make them work. But also let's think about like how we can make it feel real-ish. You know, as real as D&D is gonna feel. Like there's gonna be consequences one way or another. And I hope I did a good enough job that they had fun. Like it was again, most of what it ended up devolving into, and I say devolving, this was a good thing, especially at the time when a lot of us didn't have a whole lot going on. We're feeling a little bit isolated. A big part of it was just to get together and chat and shoot the shit, drink a little bit, and just have some fun together. So that was really good. I think most people did have fun. We ended up, most sessions were several hours long, and we would stay up way too late. And just a ton of laughter and fun. So we had a great time. That group was fun. Bunch of them moved away, and we just got busy, and that kind of fell apart. So
We should go tell that windbag of a mayor that
it was good though. It was
for connecting the village energy beam.
it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed D&D, and again, I got to that because I was talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, really fun game. And again, I'm not completely I'm not a complete noob to Dungeons and Dragons, was my point. I've played quite a bit. I do house rule quite a lot, but I also like I read the books. I went through the player's handbook, and not the entire Monster Mania, but I would go through and pick out monsters and read through it, and would pick out certain things I like from the Dungeon Master's Guide, and you know, watch YouTube videos about it. I would watch Matt Colville's Running the Game series, not all of it, but a lot of it. Man, he's got so much content. The guy's a machine. He just keeps putting out stuff, and his stuff is great. Matthew Colville. Oddly enough, the one that everything that got most people into D&D, the ones I hear most often are Critical Role and Stranger Things, and I didn't watch either. I'm not much for horror, so Stranger Things didn't really seem like it would be up my alley, if you know what I mean. Wasn't really my cup of tea, so I skipped out on that. Still haven't seen Stranger Things.
Let's go check out old Fish Breath's speedboat at the dock.
And as far as Critical Role, like, by the time I'd really gotten any kind of inkling that D&D might be something I was interested in, because it wasn't one of those things I'd thought about since grade school or since earlier, and all I knew was like it was that nerdy hobby. And again, I grew up pretty religious. My parents were and are still Mormons or LDS or whatever the hell they want to be called these days, and I was fully in as well. And it's kind of thing where my parents thought that maybe D&D wasn't such a good thing for a good Christian boy to be doing. So I just I steered clear of it when I was younger, and by the time I realized what it was and kind of the potential of that game and the way you can really do anything you want with it, I was an adult, and I'd missed the boat. The Critical Role had already been going for a while, and it felt really intimidating and it still does, to like either jump in the middle and figure out like, okay, what's going on, what have I missed, because there's so much, or to start from the beginning and try to catch up is also, I mean, I feel like almost equally intimidating, if not more so, to try to, you know, like, catch up on however many years and however many episodes and hours of content they've got at this point. And I'm sure it's great. Matt Mercer, everything he does is fantastic. Will Friedle, I think, was in it. If he's not still, he was in some of it. And just everyone that I know of in the cast that I know some of their work is phenomenal. And it gets such great reviews. I'm sure it's amazing. Nothing against Critical Role. But I will probably never get into Critical Role. Just because, again, there's that intimidation factor of, well, where do I start? Is it worth going back to the beginning? Is it good enough? I did, for quite some time, keep up with a lot of the Dimension 20 things that came out with Brendan Lee Mulligan. That guy is just so talented. Such a good DM, such a great storyteller, and such a great, I guess, actor. His comedic timing is second to none. He's very good at what he does. And he just seems like, and again, it's that whole parasocial thing. Like, I don't know this dude. Maybe he's a complete asshole in real life. But everything I've seen from him and all the views he expresses publicly and everything like that make me think that, like, he's a guy I'd probably get along with really well. And we have similar opinions about a lot of subjects that he's made public. And it just seems like the kind of guy he's nerdy enough and he's got enough into his hobbies that I mean, you can kind of see his passion come through in some things, and again, he's got that great comedic timing. He's got good opinions about the world and the way the world should be, as far as I can tell. And like, does that matter as far as like an entertainer, whether or not you should only watch people that agree with you? Well, no, of course not. Like, there could be people that are really talented and skilled and fun to watch that just absolutely are horrible people. And what do we do about that? I don't know, man. That's not my decision to make that call. I just watch who you want to watch, do what you want to do. And, you know, it goes back to the number one rule, at least the number one rule in our house. Above any other thing that is the rules in our house, the biggest rule is always just be kind. Do you have to include your sister in the video games you and your brother are playing when she's not, you know, she's not as old as you, she's not as good at them as you are? I mean, I'm really not going to force you to. I'm not going to tell you, you will sit down and you will play with your sister who's half your age, and you will let her into your world, and when she doesn't really get it. And like, I get that, and I get that her brothers want to do some things that are older at times, and my rule is always, hey, be kind. If you guys want some time to play by yourselves, figure out a way to make it work. Figure out a way where, like, hey, let's play together for half an hour in a world that we're all together, and then afterwards let's split up, and you can go do this, and you can do this part of that you really like, and we'll go do a different thing. Mostly Minecraft is what I'm talking about. You can go to a different world and do creative, and we'll go to this world and do a build battle or whatever they're doing these days. I don't know. I can't keep up with my kids. They know more about Minecraft now in the 1 year that they've been playing it than I will probably learn my entire life at this point. And it's just how it's going to be. I'm too old to keep up with this stuff. And I know Minecraft is great, number one selling video game of all time, whatever. It's fantastic. I have nothing against Minecraft. It's also just not really my cup of tea. Again, I prefer more directed games where I've got a specific objective and I know exactly where I'm going, and it's... Oh, forgot that fall damage was a thing. Alright, cool. At least I wasn't almost dead. Yeah, again, that's just kind of like the overarching rule that I have in my house is think about what you're doing. Are you being kind? Are you considering other people's feelings? And I'm not saying you always have to put other people's feelings above your own. You can make the choice that right now making you happy will make me unhappy, and I'm not going to do that. But consider it. Make sure that you're thinking about other people when you're making your decisions and choosing what you're doing. And again, my oldest kid is 8, so this is all really basic level stuff right now, but I think that if that were the philosophy that people chose to try to implement more, and this is just like the most cliche thing to say, but like the world would be a much different place if people thought about their actions. And again, I'm not saying put your own interests aside all the time. I'm not saying do what you can to make everyone around you happy, because that's not healthy either. You shouldn't just be a people pleaser to be a people pleaser, but you should consider other people's feelings. You should consider other people's needs and see if, like, oh, maybe my third house isn't as important as helping, you know, people that are homeless or starving on the streets. Like maybe, just maybe, we should make sure that everybody has a basic standard of living before we decide that some people get all the money in the world. But that just wouldn't be American if we didn't let the people with the most money have all of the money. We gotta stop them. Sorry, I know, like, shouldn't get anything too political here, and pretty sure it's already pretty evident what side I stand on, but I just want to consider the good of humanity, both in general and also of humans in specific. I think that if we can justify any short-term mistreatment of people, if we can justify anything by saying, well, it's for the good of humanity, we're gonna, you know, install an autocratic fascist because, well, he's gonna make things better for everyone in the long run. So, you know, the people that he hurts in the short term, that's just to shepherd humanity into a new, better state, or whatever. Like, whatever bullshit people want to believe about whoever they want to install. And I'm not just talking about American politics, I'm talking about worldwide. I think there's a tendency to want to install somebody who projects strength and says, I will take care of you and I will do things that are going to make your life better in the long run, but to get there, it's going to hurt some others. And there's a tendency to want that. There's a tendency maybe not to want to hurt other people, but to see that pain in others as potentially necessary to get the things that you want. And I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think that we need to have this dichotomy. I don't think we need to see it's either us or them. It's either I look out for myself and I get everything that I want, or I look out for other people and I don't get the things that I want. It's not that black and white. I think that there's so much more nuance and difficulty into deciding these things, deciding political aims and goals, and what the best way to make decisions for a country or for a state or for a city are to again make sure that the people there are taken care of and get the best things that they can have, and you know, help make life worth living for as many people as possible, while not like fucking over your neighbors and saying, well, we're here in Pasadena, so we're gonna go ahead and exploit everybody in Sacramento, and we're gonna take all of their stuff and give it to everybody here in Pasadena because that's how we get what we want. No, I mean, there's again, I sound like I'm rambling right now, and I just am, but the point is, we need to be able to take care of each other better. We need to have more empathy and compassion and kindness. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that in the richest country in the world, I am talking about America right now, obviously, we shouldn't also have one of the largest wealth gaps in the world. We shouldn't also have sections of the country where you cannot live, you can't live a quality life because all of your money is going to, you know, 3 or 4 different corporations that run everything in your town. You got, you know, the local Walmart and the gas station, and you got Google's the only thing that, you know, it just, again, I'm doing a very poor job explaining myself right now. I wasn't actually going to talk about politics on stream at all, but, you know, I got a big mouth. So, point is, like, the wealth gap is enormous and it's only rising. We have enough vacant housing in this country to house every single homeless person dozens of times over, but we've decided that housing is not actually something that is on the bottom of the hierarchy of needs, and that every human being deserves reasonable and fair housing. But it's an investment opportunity. It's a place where people who have lots of money can earn more money because they will use money to buy things that people need, and because people need it, demand is inelastic, and so they will pay whatever it takes, and no matter how high it goes, it will continue to be a relatively sound investment because, again, it's an inelastic demand good. People need a place to shelter, and in today's world, quite frankly, there aren't a lot of options. Like, yeah, you could go out and camp on public land or whatever, like whatever shit that some libertarian fanboys want to think is realistic, but like, no, you need a house, you need a place to live, a place that isn't going to come crashing down you, that's safe, it isn't covered in mold, and the fact that we have so much more vacancy than the homeless population. Like, again, we could give every homeless person a house, and there would still be millions of empty homes. And I'm not saying that, like, the logistics of making that work are easy or simple, and we should all just, whatever, just, like, go buy a house for your local home. Like, I get it. It's more complicated than that. Some homelessness is more complex, has a more complex set of features in it, but, it just blows my mind when people are like, well, they don't deserve a house or anything like that. I'm like, this is another fellow human being. Why don't they deserve basic respect and fair treatment? Why is it good for them to be downtrodden? Like, that, I get that's what the companies want, because that's the threat they can hold over your head. They can say either you work for us for shit pay, for bad conditions, and we continue to reduce your quality of life and your material circumstances so that our profit goes up, because in the current system, for publicly traded companies especially, wow, his neck just looks so weird there. Especially for publicly traded companies, the only thing that matters is next quarter. It does not matter if you've had steady, sustainable income for years and you can afford to pay all your bills and you're saving money as a company. If you didn't earn more profit this quarter than last quarter, you failed. And that's just an absolutely unsustainable model to have our economy built on, to be perfectly frank. And I think it's stupid. I think it's so dumb that we expect this to be realistic. Like, again, yeah, if you get to a conservative, if you get to an older age and you're trying to build a conservative investment portfolio, maybe you want one or two stable blue chip companies that aren't going to grow but are going to be consistent. But that's just less and less what people are looking for with their investments. They want to see growth. They want to see, again, that ROI. They want to see that return on investment. So, again, all that matters is next quarter. Was it better than this quarter? And that's just so unsustainable. And so, yeah, it leads to things like wages being stagnant. Wages are what economists call sticky. They don't go up the way that you would expect in an economy, in a growing economy, because, quite frankly, it's a pain in the ass to change jobs, and employers know that. It's a pain in the ass to leave, to go to a new place. You gotta, go put your resume in all these different places that don't fucking read it. You have to go re-enter all the information in afterwards. Did I not get the ones behind the waterfall? Come on, Nate, you're better than that. And if you don't have another job lined up, you're without health care, you're without vision and dental and whatever other benefits they're providing to you, and you're stuck there. So they don't have to keep up with how the economy's growing. They don't have to keep up with cost of living because you're stuck. It takes quite a bit for you to be upset enough, inconvenienced enough that you're willing to leave. And they know that. Of course they know that. That's baked into their calculations. So it's frustrating to me that people are like, oh, the economy will self-correct. I'm like, well, no, it won't. I mean, maybe eventually, if there's a big enough crash, that we'll get some adjustment. But, I mean, what we're looking at in the short term is real human suffering that doesn't need to exist. If we put in place social safety nets to help people that need it, to help people that are maybe in a bad work situation, that are in a place where they just can't keep going, but they don't have other sources. If they could know that they could take some time and look for another opportunity, and take some time and try to learn some new skills, if education was affordable, if people had the flexibility to try new things. I mean, like, God, how much more innovation would we see? How many people would be willing to start businesses? That's where they are, out on those islands. If they weren't chained to a desk from 9 to 5 that saps all your energy. And the thing is, it's so situational. Like, I was in a job that made me just incredibly miserable. Just absolutely. And this isn't the most recent job I've had. I've had several, but I was so miserable. I would come home and I worked my ass off to try to get more licenses and certifications and to do more and to get to a point where I could leave the position I was in and get a better quality of life for myself while still being able to, you know, keep working the whole time and provide for my family, because I was the sole provider at that point. And I just hated the job that I was doing at the time, and I was doing everything I could to get better, get a better prospects and get everything that I could, but I was so... I mean, I was burning the candle at both ends, and I was drained, and I was tired, and I didn't want to keep going the way I was, and I wasn't happy, and that it was a difficult time for me. And it's the kind of thing where, like, I couldn't study to change careers. I couldn't do anything like that. I could do a little bit of growth work for myself in my off time, but I was so tired with kids and the wife and studying for licenses and trying to get as good as I could at my job to prove that I deserved, you know, better, to prove that I deserved more pay and better job and better treatment, that I just burned out, and I got to a point where I got several promotions at work, but then basically hit a ceiling to where there was nowhere else to go. And I felt trapped. I felt like there was nothing I could do, and there was, I mean, I couldn't quit. The family was relying on me for housing and food, and if I left that, then we had no health care, we had no house, we had no food. There was nothing. I was making okay money, enough to survive, not enough to really be all that comfortable, and definitely not enough to put stuff away for savings. And I basically just accepted that I was never going to retire. I wasn't going to have options to move out, and that's partially, again, the depression and that kind of hopeless state of mind. I'm sure there was more I could have done at the time, but I get it. Like, I get why people feel like they're stuck, and if there was some type of public assistance that was reliable and not just like, all right, now bend over and spread them so I can check you, make sure you're not trying to hide all the extra food that we're giving you. It's not like, it's just demeaning and dehumanizing and demoralizing, and I think we can just do so much better as a society if we just put each other first and actually cared about other people as people, and not like, well, how will their success hurt me or whatever. Like, it's just frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me to see the way that a lot of other places, I'm not going to say have things figured out, but do things better than we do. There are places with robust social safety nets, robust, you know, healthcare plans. The Nordic countries do fairly well. And people just say, like, oh, it's just not possible. Like, universal healthcare, it's so complicated. Who could figure it out? Who could make that work? And I'm like, well, 32 of the top 33 OECD nations have figured out some form of universal healthcare, and I'm not saying they're all great, but oftentimes it would be better if conservatives stopped trying to defund it. And yeah, I'll just say it outright. Like, if you defund social safety nets and defund the healthcare systems, they are going to be shit. Obviously, they need money to work. That is just the reality of the world we live in. Money is necessary, and we should fund them. End of story. The fact that we can have people go bankrupt because they get cancer is just wild to me. Like, we talk about how the country is a meritocracy and how people get what they deserve, and it's like, no, people, I mean, to an extent, yes. I'm not going to come out here and be like, oh, nothing matters, and it's all nepotism, and it's all, yeah, you know, racism and like, no, these are all parts that go into it. Obviously, like if you know somebody, or if your dad is a high up in a company, you're far more likely to get a good job there. Everybody acknowledges that that's true. Like that's just the way that their system works. But I'm not saying everybody who's doing well is the result of nepotism. If you look at the statistics in our country, like obviously, like if you're white, you are very likely better off than somebody with the same level of education, of time in their job, of I mean, basically any factor. Any person of color is going to be worse off than you in the same situation, statistically speaking. Again, I know that it goes much down deeper than that, and I'm not advocating for an abdication of personal responsibility. Obviously, like people should work hard, people should try to do their best to do things that ooh, that was close. That they know that they should do and that benefit society, and they should be rewarded when they do things that benefit society. And I think people have a right to wealth that they have helped work to create and wealth that they have generated for the society. If you invent something awesome and it's something that's good for society, fan-fucking-tastic. I hope you get to live lavishly because of that for quite some time. But I think we've just gotten to a point where it's just a little bit too much. I mean, again, you have people that have enough money that they themselves, I think Bezos or Musk, I don't remember which one. I mean, like, in the interviews, they're saying, like, I've gotten to a point of wealth where, I think it was Bezos, and he was saying the only way that he can see to deploy this wealth in his lifetime and do anything with it is space travel. I'm like, when you've gotten to the point where you have so much money that your only reasonable option is build a rocket ship, you have too much money. I'm sorry, that's just true. It's just, I don't see why that's a controversial take. Like, you've gotten to the point where your reasonable way to spend your money is space travel. And again, my dad works in the aerospace. He works at Lockheed Martin. I understand the benefits of space exploration and research and all that. Like, I get it. I'm not against space. I am against one person being able to fund a space program. That's wild. Like, think about the amount of money involved in that. You gotta build the rockets and launch pads, not landing pads. I guess for, what is it, the starships. I guess they might need landing pads. I don't know exactly how that's working right now. I get the impression that they are. I don't think they're dropping into the ocean. They probably need landing pads too. They probably. I don't know. I haven't looked into that enough to know what's going on, but just all the infrastructure and employees and research and development, and I know that they're kind of piggybacking off a lot of work that's already been done, and I know that they have a lot of investment from private companies with their own interests and all that other stuff, but like the fact that, again, there are multiple space programs funded mostly by individual wealthy people, like that's fucking wild. And I don't know how we've gotten here as a society and haven't taken a look around to say, like, maybe we took a wrong turn somewhere. Maybe we need to go back to the point where if you have that much money, yeah, it probably should be taken from you to benefit people in society who need it more. Like, and you can say that's tyranny, you can say that's like all taxation is theft, whatever. Call it whatever you want. I think, again, people should be able to live their lives with the basics taken care of in the most wealthy country in the world. People shouldn't die because they get, you know, a treatable disease that they can't afford health insurance, so they don't go to the doctor and it gets worse and inflamed, and you get to a point where there's nothing more you can do. And I think that the fact that our current society is just so much is left up to chance of the circumstances of your birth and whether or not you're susceptible to these genetic conditions or anything else like that. There's just such a huge amount of luck that goes into how a person's life is going to turn out, to be honest. Like that we just don't like to acknowledge, because we like to feel like everything that I've done because I earned it. Everything that I am, God, God damn, I'm back here with almost no health. I don't want to go through here because they shoot the stupid bombs, and if one of those hits me, I need something. I don't want to go fight those 3 dudes with 1 hit. Do I have a better alternative right now? I don't know. I just don't want to die, guys. We're at Misty Island. And we're part of the way through. This is about as far as I've gotten in this no-death run. I'm doing about as good as I ever have here, so congratulations, you're here watching history be made for me. How exciting. I'm just trying to see if I can find some, some more boxes. Some more boxes of the little green juice. The healthy stuff. See what I can find before I have to go tackle those 3 dudes. Maybe I'll just come up on it from the other side. Maybe that'll be less intimidating. I know it's over here somewhere. Down there. Okay, down there. Sorry about that. These guys are less scary to me. Because they only take 1 hit, not 2. Come here, buddy boy. You're just going to keep walking there. A little bit more health. Oh, I need 11 more. Don't touch the eco box. Fuck, shouldn't have done that. That was too risky. Scaring myself here. 4 more. Alright, come here, buddy boy. Come here, lurker man. Hell yeah. 2 hit points. Now I can take on the world. Just die. Ooh, didn't see that eco box. I should know that's there. Man, I am too reckless. No wonder I keep starting over. Anyway, so, those are my thoughts about politics. And again, I'm a pretty, these are all pretty new and revolutionary ideas for me. I grew up Mormon. I grew up very conservative. I went to the Mormon college. I went to BYU, and I wrote an essay for my English class when they let us choose topics. As far as I recall, it was pretty open-ended. Pretty much whatever we wanted to write about, we could write about. And I wrote an essay about how raising the minimum wage is bad for the economy because it'll hurt employers too much. And I look back on that shit and I just cringe. I'm like, oh. I just didn't research it really. I just made up stuff that sounded good to me. I use those classic examples of like, oh, well, if you've got 10 employees and the minimum wage goes up by $5, then or goes up by some number, whatever, and just did like hypothetical calculations, and when you do the math, oh wow, the more employees you have, the number gets bigger, and oh, that's a scary number. But then you look at that number, yeah, of course their costs are going to go up by X millions of dollars, and you hear millions of dollars in increased costs, and you're like, oh wow, that is bad. I can see why that's a scary thing, and why that shouldn't be something that we want to have happen, because we want to make sure that companies can survive to employ people, because if they can't employ people, then yeah, you're right, that's bad for the economy. But then once you start to learn, once you're not in college, you're in the real world, and you see kind of the actual numbers these companies do and the actual revenue they have, and you realize that those millions of dollars in increased costs are a rounding error on their books, and the difference it makes in the lives of the people that get that increased wage, because we're talking again about the people at the bottom of the bottom are the ones who are going to be impacted by this. We're talking about the minimum wage, like the benefit it does to those workers compared to the non-existent harm it does to these companies. Like, yeah, their profit is slightly lower for a little bit until they jack up prices again and things go up again, and that's an argument to be careful of. It's that if you're gonna kind of keep going back and forth and not really make any real progress, and the companies are just gonna offset it for inelastic demand goods, then yeah, that's concerning. And you need to make sure that things are done in a way that makes sense. But again, realistically, there are prices that aren't going to change very much because people just won't pay more. Their companies might take less profit, and frankly, I don't care. That's fine. What is profit except money that is going, excess profit is just money that's going to the C-suite. Like those executives that are already highly compensated, that already make money. If they make more value, then sure, why not? They can keep it, but not at the expense of their workers. I mean, when like the largest, I know it's been changed since then, and it's not a recent example, but at the time when Bezos was the wealthiest person in the world, I was looking into things, and like double-digit percentage, I want to say it was close to 30%, but I could be wrong, and I don't want to lie, but I know that it was at least a double-digit percentage of their workers are on food stamps, and it's like, well, this man has more money than anyone else in the history of the world, basically adjusting for inflation. And part of the reason that he does that is because the taxpayers are subsidizing his workforce. Like, that's what food stamps are. It's a subsidy for these businesses that aren't paying them well enough. So instead of doing that, like, not instead of, again, there should be a robust social safety net, and regulate them. Say, if you can't afford to pay your workers, you don't deserve to be in business anymore. We're shutting you down. Like, you know, we're going to impose tax penalties on you because we are covering for you in this regard. If you cannot run your company in a way that makes sense and that you can employ people decently, then your company maybe doesn't deserve to exist. And you can argue from the consumer benefit side of things and say, well, Amazon keeps prices low or Walmart keeps prices low, and that's a net benefit to society. But again, at what cost? And I don't think it's worth it, frankly. Yes, the low prices at Walmart are great, but also, like, the people who work at Walmart can't afford to shop anywhere but Walmart and can barely afford Walmart because they aren't paid enough to. So, like, again, what is the cost that we're paying as a society of all these things? Not to mention just the psychological cost of, like, I think that a lot of us, and again, this is probably way too much, but a lot of us get conditioned to see other people as our competition, as the enemy, and I think it's really sad. It's really sad that we turn against each other and we say, like, oh, well, man, if those McDonald's workers are getting the same rate that I am as an EMT, well, that's not fair. I do harder work than them. I should get better pay and yada yada. I'm like, don't look around at the people around you that are also struggling, and when they get something good, be upset about that. No, look at where the money's going. Follow the money. Like, that's basically my point at this. Shit. I didn't copy and overwrite the Guys of Rock file. I just cut and paste. I just moved it. I moved it into the folder, so I overwrote that save file. Let me see. Do I have an older copy in the recycling bin? Maybe. Let's see. What's this? Oh, maybe. Ooh, might have got lucky. Gotta be smarter about this, though. Alright, you're there. Cool. Got those files. I know, you guys love just staring at my face while I move files around on my computer. This is your favorite part of the night, I'm sure. Copy, paste, replace on destination. Let's bring Jack back up, baby. Let's see if this is working. Here, I'll even switch back to the screen so you guys can see it with me. Did I do it right? Did this work? Am I not dumb? Load game. Yeah, I'm not super dumb. I'm dumb for trying this, apparently. This is... Man, I'm not gonna lie. I thought I played this game so many times. I thought... Oh, it'll take me 1 or 2 attempts. This is gonna be so easy. This is... If I'm actually, like, focusing on this and it's a goal of mine, I should be able to do this, I should be able to knock this out quickly and easily. No, this isn't going well. That's okay. Again, it's still a fun game. I do enjoy my time with it. And we'll see. I'm sure it'll work out. One way or another. Maybe I'll modify the challenge. Maybe I'll keep going. Maybe I'll just get good. Man, I'm the kind of guy that I like to tease my kids a lot. I like to have fun with them and joke and again, try to make it clear when I'm joking and when I'm not, because I know that can be hard for kids to understand. So that's one of my goals, is try to be a little more clear when I'm joking, when I'm teasing them, when everything is serious, and help them understand the difference between those times, because I'm not great at separating them. I make jokes at inopportune times, at inappropriate times, quite frankly, for kids, because again, they can't really tell the difference. But lately I've been telling my kids, get good. Like, I'll hold up my hand for a high five and let them try, oh, too slow, sorry, get good, like, I'm a jerk is basically my point. But I hope my kids find me funny, because that's the goal. I want to make sure that I'm there for my children, that I do want to make sure they know that, like, they need to listen to mom and dad. Mom and dad have their best interests at heart, and we can't always explain to them exactly the reason why they need to do what we say is. But I need them to trust that there is a reason at this point, because, again, we're older, we've lived on this earth longer than they have, we've experienced more than they have, and quite frankly, we're smarter than them for now. So we try to give them a lot of autonomy and a lot of options to choose their own path in life and things like that, while still recognizing that they are children and they don't know what's going to be best for them yet. They don't know exactly what they want yet, and that's okay. They don't know, like, my kids, especially my oldest, if I let him, he'll sit and play games all day, every day. And I don't mean like he'll game and he'll stop and go to the bathroom, or he'll stop and get himself. No, he will sit there and lose himself in the game until he's about to explode. And he'll, like, as of right now, like, if we don't make him, I don't know, not really, because we have pretty strict limits on their gaming. They get a couple hours a day on non-school days, and on school days, sometimes they don't get any, and sometimes they get an hour or so of gaming, which is, I think, pretty generous compared to how I was as a kid. But also, like, I get why they get frustrated, because you just want to play. But again, when he's playing, he'll sit there and he will wait. And again, he's 8 years old. He's not exactly a baby, but we'll just get busy doing something and hear him tearing through the house as fast as he can, because he's trying not to pee his pants before he gets to the toilet. And to his credit, he hasn't had an accident. He's doing fine. Like, he gets there, but it's like, dude, go 5 minutes ago. Pay attention to your body enough to realize that, yeah, you need to get up and move. And, like, we're trying to make them take breaks now and get up and move in the middle and run around. And we got a fairly open floor plan. It's kind of one of those circular houses where the rooms all kind of connect through small hallways into a big circle, and we'll make them run laps or something. Not in a mean way. We'll turn on music and call it a dance party or whatever, but just, like, move your bodies. If you want to be able to move your body as you get older, move it while you're younger, and it will be immensely easier. That's a lesson that I am learning right now. Trying to get back in shape after having let myself go for too long. Again, just periods of stress and depression that are fortunately a lot better now. But I'm trying to get healthier, trying to do stuff like that, and I want to teach the kids while they're young that you don't have to wait till there's a problem to fix it. Like, you brush your teeth because you don't want to have to deal with the annoyance of cavity and major dental surgery. Like, do it now. Do these small things that feel like work that you don't want to be doing now, but do them now, and I promise you it will pay off later. in the avoidance of the unpleasant things that you will have to do if you don't do it now. And you know, they don't get it. They're kids. So there are things, again, that they don't get choices on. They don't get to choose whether or not they're brushing their teeth and when they wake up and when they're going to bed. They don't get to choose whether or not they're going to do something physical. They don't get to choose. I mean, like, in general. Like, obviously, like, if we're like, hey, do you guys want to go for a walk? And they're like, yeah, we don't feel like it today. We're not going to be like, too bad. You all are doing what we say because we're the parents. No, we're not like that. We try to give them a lot of choices. Like I said, the older ones, they all do some type of, I guess we'll call them extracurricular club or activity. There's 3 older ones that are doing that now, and a couple of them are in drawing classes, and the third is in martial arts. And that's not because we arbitrarily decided what they're gonna do, because you seem like a martial arts kid. It's like, oh no, hey, does this seem interesting to you? Do you want to try a class? Okay, you've tried the class. Do you like it? Cool, you do? We'll keep going. And the others don't feel like trying the class. Doesn't sound interesting to them, so we're not going to make them. They feel like doing art. Great. We've talked about doing music lessons, and they all do music lessons. They do the piano with their grandmother. She comes and teaches them here in our house, so they're fortunate that she's talented enough and willing enough to come teach them, that they get that private in-home lesson that they do not appreciate yet. But I hope they will someday. But yeah, we're very fortunate. Again, the point that I'm trying to make is we try to give our kids a lot of freedom in their own lives. Hey, thanks, man. Today, tomorrow. Good to see you. I made it to Misty Island without dying. So we got some progress made, but then I died. So progress went away. So, too bad. No, it's been fun though. Been going through a lot. Getting real good at these early levels. We could, yeah. We could do that, Daxter. You're a smart guy. I'm not going to, but we could. Whatever, man. You're already going through Jak 2. That's far more intense than the Precursor Legacy. And something that I will 100% not be doing as a no-death run. If I decide to move on to Jak 2 at some point, it's just going to be... I don't even think I'll do 100%. That game, just the number of Precursor orbs that are hidden, and they commit the cardinal sin for a collectible, for a collectathon, I guess, where you can miss some, and I hate that. I hate having to have that stress of like, oh, get it now or you're never gonna get it. I can't stand that. I love Jak 2, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great game. I love the whole trilogy series, whatever, if you include Jak X. They're all great games, but yeah, when it comes to 2 and 3, I don't go for the 100% even. I complete it, I get enough orbs to get whatever secrets I want to buy from the secrets menu, and then I move on. And yeah, I don't know if you've been in the streams before, just kind of hanging out, but I don't know, we're talking about maybe moving away from a no death run and doing like every time I die I have to do push-ups or something like that, because I'm just not making much progress, but it's fine. Right now I'm still feeling like this is a possibility and feeling optimistic, so we'll see. We're going to keep going, trying for no death for a while, but maybe I'll give myself to the new year and see how much progression we've made. Talking about maybe doing a checkpoint system as well, where if I can beat all the hub world, or all the worlds off of each hub world, then I get to start at the next hub world. So if I get through Misty Island and then through Fire Canyon, I'll save a file that I can start from the Blue Sage's hut or something. I don't know. Run a mile. No thanks. Especially at the time of night I'm streaming. Yeah, something though. Something fun or something entertaining. There you go. get my editing skills together and make sure that I can stitch it together frame by frame so that nobody knows that I'm cheating. Nah, we'll see. Again, I'm not giving up hope just yet. Just coming up with alternatives. I could be playing this game for a while though. We'll see. Oh, I thought I was just outside of their reach.
Get to the top of that tower.
But yeah, I want this to be something that's fun for me and fun for people to watch, and we'll see. Now, honestly, this would probably be a lot. This would probably go a lot better, and I would do a lot better if I didn't do it late at night after maybe perhaps partaking in some less than federally legal products, but are legal where I live, so complicated, you know? No, I think it's just fine, and I think we'll get through it. I should probably read the Twitch guidelines and know what I can talk about and what I can't, because I'm probably being cautious about stuff that doesn't matter, and probably doing a bunch of stuff that Twitch is like, yeah, don't do that, and we'll find out. I figure... One to practice. Oh, I do actually. So I played through. I started playing through on my PS4. I'm doing this on PC using Open Goal, but I started playing through on my PS4 out in the family room when I get the chance to game and let my kids watch. So I do play. Oh, that was dumb. Oh, that was dumb. Oh well. I play on my PS4, so I do get some practice in other places, so that's good. Now we get to start back over because I jumped down the hole. That's the other thing, is I just keep running my mouth, so I'm distracted the whole time. If I was sitting alone doing this quietly, didn't count. I wish. No. It's all good. I thought that tonight I might make it through Fire Canyon, but at this rate, I don't know if that's happening. We'll see. I don't know if you were here for this or not, but I have implemented a new rule where I'm not doing Geyser Rock at all. No more. The initial tutorial level, it just stops you so much and just slows you down so much. I created a save file where I'm just skipping all that. So we're going to start over after Geyser Rock. Again, I'm a stubborn motherfucker who plays through Bloodborne despite not being good enough to play through Bloodborne in the Souls games. I will play through, and I may not be good enough to beat the game, but I'll beat it anyway. I will keep going through until I either beat the boss out of sheer luck or make enough incremental changes or improvements, I guess, that I'll get through. Wow, I got their lines to overlap. That's impressive. Yeah, me too, man. Bloodborne. I think it's the best of the Soulsborne games, and I'm a huge Soulsborne fan. Again, I'm not a good gamer. I have not gotten good. I didn't get good, but I love playing them. They're just fun to go through, and again, the atmosphere, the gameplay, it's tight, it's fun. I will admit I haven't gone through Elden Ring yet. I've played it for about an hour, and I just was at a point where I didn't get into it. Again, I'm too stubborn, and I try to fight through places that I'm not ready for, and then I just never went back to it. I want to go play Elden Ring. I hear it's really good. Have you played Elden Ring? Yeah, that's also what I hear, and that's intimidating for me. If it's I don't know. I'm not much of an open world guy. I grew up in this era of Jak and Daxter and things like that, and I get sidetracked easily, and I don't. A lot of the open world games I've played, it probably comes down to it as well. As I've played a lot of the ones where it's, like Assassin's Creed style games, where you're doing the same thing over and over with a different coat of paint. And don't get me wrong, it was great for what it was, but I hear things have improved a lot with open world games where it's not just, you know, the same bandit camp 17 times that you're going through and, oh, it's different this time because their hats are green instead of red or whatever. That's funny, my first mod. I will allow your message because I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, the New Game Plus being it 10 times, but New Game Plus a lot easier. Okay. Better with people than alone. That's the other thing, is I don't typically game with other people. I grew up, most of my gaming was before online gaming was a thing, when I had time to game before I went off to college and stuff like that, so I've never got in the habit of playing online and don't have a whole lot of people. My wife does game occasionally, but not a whole lot, and my kids aren't old enough to really get into that kind of stuff yet, so maybe as they get older, maybe if I get more social, something like that. We'll see. But yeah, FromSoft I think is a phenomenal studio. They've done great work with pretty much everything they've done. Naughty Dog's great as well. Last of Us, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter. Going back to Crash, I mean, I can see how Crash was excellent, but it just Crash Bandicoot games were never my style. And I tried to go back to now, like the HD collections and the remasters and all that stuff that they've come out with, and it just doesn't really do it for me. Just can't get into it, so it's not the way my brain works. How far did you get in Jak 2? Did you make a decent amount of progress so far?
That lazy farmer owes us a power cell. Let's go talk to him.
Minecraft and Roblox, man. That's what the kids love. I got my kids playing games since they were little, and they've recently discovered Minecraft and Roblox. I just got them tablets for Christmas, like little cheap Android tablets, but they run Roblox, and this is the first time my kid has played Roblox, and he's liking it, but he already wants to start spending money, and I'm like, might have to put a stop to that pretty quick, because I let them get mine coins occasionally and stuff like that, but I don't want them to be drawn into the whole 7 hours, 50%. Nice. Good work. Good work. I forget, have you played Jak 2 before? I don't remember if you said in your stream. I don't want them to get sucked into the whole, like, spending all their money on skins stuff is all I'm saying. I want them to use their money on stuff they'll actually enjoy for longer than some digital pixels. Yeah, that's a big one for me. And, like, honestly, like, I'm a softie. Like, occasionally, if it's been a few months, I'll just show up randomly, like, alright, I added $10 to your account, go wild, go have something fun. They probably get $10 probably about quarterly, frankly, from me. But like they'll earn cash and stuff from jobs they do or from, you know, grandparents or chores or extra stuff that we have them do. And I just at this point I won't let them buy mine coins with their cash, with their money that they earn. I'm like, nope, you got to use that on other stuff. You still get mine coins, you still get other stuff occasionally. Don't get into the habit of spending your money on this. So that's my take on it. I don't judge anybody else for like what they think the right lines are or anything like that. Man, it's a hard world to be a parent in right now. There's so many people just vying for your attention and your wallet, frankly. And kids are gonna have it rough, so I want them to learn early that just because something is shiny and cool doesn't mean you need it right now. And I'm not exactly the best example of that. But I'm hoping I can instill some of that into them. Alright, well, I wish you the best of luck. I might pop in after I'm done here. I don't know how late I'll be streaming this, but kind of depends on how well this run goes. Yeah. And again, my oldest is, I don't know if I've said this or if you were here when I said it or anything, my oldest is 8, so I've got 4 that range from 3 to 8, so they're all so young still, and I'm just trying to figure out where the lines are and how to do all that stuff. Hey, thanks, I appreciate it. I'm sure you're doing a great job too. I think that in general, to be a parent, the most important thing is just to try. And you're gonna screw things up, and I've just already accepted that I'm gonna screw up my kids in some way. I just hope that it's a different way than my parents screwed me up, right? Like, I got lucky, I got good parents, and I'm trying to pass that on and try to improve where my parents might have fallen a little short in my eyes, and I'm sure I'll fall short in others. That's just part of life, though. And if my kids make it to adulthood and don't kill anyone, don't go to jail, I'm gonna call it a success.
Let's get up on that machine and break the marathon.
And hopefully they are healthy, stable individuals as well, but that's just icing on the cake. Let's just live first. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure you're right. I just, sometimes I feel like I'm already so old and I forget that, oh, no, man, life is just starting, right? Like, I got a lot to learn myself. I'm trying to teach kids and I'm just figuring it out as well, so we're doing the best we can. And I think that most people are doing the best they can, and most people are doing a pretty good job, I think. Some people are doing terrible. Not gonna lie. I think that's all the orbs that way. Yeah, but I am glad I'm playing on a PC so I can save scum and at least skip Geyser Rock, because, man, I don't know if you were here for any of my rants, but I hate Geyser Rock so much. It is not a bad tutorial level, but it is a tutorial level, and the constant pausing and skipping, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. That was going to kill my run faster than everything else, so at least this way I can feel a little bit better about starting over when I die, knowing I don't have to go through that god-awful level again. Just done with it, man. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen you here, so I appreciate it. I just actually did that today, so I've been streaming for about a week off and on, so 3 or 4 times. And every other time, I just go back to the very beginning. But yeah, so running it on, did I already do this? No, I died last time I did this. Running it on my PC through this project called Open Goal, OpenGOAL. It's really smooth. It's running natively on the PC. It's not a port. It's not emulated. This is just running on my Windows PC. So it's a cool project. You should look it up if you do any PC gaming at all, and if you have time. You just Google Open Goal Jak or whatever, GOAL. It's an open source project. Naughty Dog created a whole language for Jak and Daxter. They created a new language to program these games and created it in-house, and it's called Goal. And these guys are basically like, they've reverse engineered it, and they've created the whole game again to run natively on PCs through Goal. So you compile it on your machine. You provide your own copy of the ROM that you, of course, legally obtained. Yeah, and because it's on my PC and it's running natively, like, there's a folder where my saves are. So I just grabbed a copy of the saves, and I can grab a copy from anywhere. So I can, if I want to change the rules later in my run, and again say like, okay, once I reach the Blue Sage's hut, I'm going to save a file there and keep it going from the Blue Sage's hut. That's really cool. Right now they've got Jak and Daxter running. They've got it 100% completed. They've got Jak 2. It's out in beta, so I played through the whole thing on my handheld, on my ROG Ally. running open goal, so it ran natively on my Ally. Played through the whole thing, had a couple bugs, but nothing game breaking. And again, they run really well. They've added resolution options and aspect ratio and anti-aliasing. It's fantastic. So this is all running. I'm running this off a laptop right now, so it's going really well. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, especially if you're streaming, that gets tough. Like, I am running on a laptop, but it's a decently powerful laptop. It's a couple years old and got a GPU, so I've got a dedicated hardware to run it on. But again, open goal seems to be running pretty well on most things. If you're trying to stream it too, that gets complicated. I get that. So I say I get that. Again, I'm very new to streaming. I've been streaming for about a week total. Editing, yeah, nice. What games do you play with your brothers? Whatever they want, yeah, love it. Alright, let's see if I can not die here. I guess that's the point of the run, isn't it? Not die anywhere. Dang it. Should have double jumped. Alright. Come on, dude. Put your head up. Thank you. Rainbow Six. Yeah. Again, I grew up in a really conservative household, and I didn't really play many FPS when I was younger, and I gamed more often. So now that I'm an older guy, old for a gamer, I'm just not good at them. I just get my ass handed to me all the time if I try to play any kind of FPS or any kind of online competitive game. So I've just had to come to terms with the fact that I'm probably not going to be able to get competitive in that scene at all. Warhammer, nice, love it. You play Baldur's Gate 3. I know it's not the same, but reminds me of that. It always feels so morbid. Just jump on the corpse of your defeated enemy for loot. This is a kid's game. But yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy that back in early 2000s or late 90s or whenever this came out, they just, your actions impacted the world. I remember when I first killed that boss and realized all the plants out here were dead, how stoked I was as a kid to be like, whoa, that changed? Crazy. Yeah, Xbox 360 kind of like that. Gotcha. Gotta teabag the enemies, yeah. Oh man, I would go to like LAN parties with my buddies that had an Xbox and play Halo when I wasn't at my parents' house, and so they didn't know about it, you know, like, gotta be sneaky. And like, I could hold my own locally with like regular people, but you get online and you get these people that just like, that's all they do, and they just, especially before better separation of lobbies and things like that, and you can, tons of problems with skills-based matchmaking or whatever, but like, man, when I go online these days, I just get creamed no matter what I'm playing. But yeah, being in person, having like LAN parties with Halo, getting multiple Xboxes and multiple TVs, and just like go crazy with it, that was so fun. I kind of miss that type of stuff. It's hard as people get older, move away, and games are, it's not easy to set up a LAN party for a lot of things these days, as far as I can tell. Like, Halo did away with couch co-op, and there's not a whole lot else out there that is really good for multiple people on a system, so everybody either has to have their own, or whatever it is. It's just got a little more complicated, but it's still fun. I still enjoy playing with other people when I can. Game Boy Color. Man, I didn't have a Nintendo 64, but I played, and I remember we used to go on road trips, and one road trip, my parents had gotten us 3 Game Boy Colors for 3 of us kids, and there were 2 Pokemon games in the group, so we all had to take turns with that, and it was just a very memorable road trip that year. It was really fun, and got into them right at the beginning, back with Red and Blue, and then fell off right at the beginning too. I played through most of Gold and Silver, and I think I finished Gold or Silver, whichever one I played as a kid, and then I didn't get a Game Boy Advance, so I kind of fell off there because I think that's where that one ended. Gotten back into it now that I'm an adult, and it's kind of disheartening to see both all the new Pokemon that I don't know and don't recognize and have no emotional attachment to, but also how things are basically the same game. I love Pokemon. I think it's great. Even as an adult, I think it's awesome. But it is a little frustrating to be like, oh, this is the same game I played 30 years ago, you know? I like to get new mechanics and new things, but there just hasn't been any kind of like revolution. It's been incremental change and quality of life improvements, and they're good now. I don't think they're bad. I don't know. Scarlet and Violet kind of ran like ass when they came out, I heard. I didn't really play them. But for the most part, they're not bad games. They're just uninspired at this point. Nice, yeah. I mean, I grew up with a very conservative family. We grew up Mormon, so, you know, they call themselves Christians. Whether or not they're definitionally Christian, I don't care at this point. Like, it just doesn't bother me one way or the other, so. Yeah, I was not allowed to play any M-rated games. I played them at friends' houses when they didn't know. I wasn't allowed to do any kind of first-person shooters or anything because they were awful. Yeah, I've been playing through Baldur's Gate 3. I just, man, I feel like I'm missing so much. I'm going to have to play so many times to go through it because I played for 20 or 30 hours and I'm still in Act 1, and I'm like, I know there are people whose names I've heard as companions and things that I probably missed them. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm not, again, I'm not great with open world stuff, so I'm trying to learn because I love D&D and I love Baldur's Gate. What I've played so far is just incredible. Looks great, plays great, but I need to get better at it. So rather than do that, I'm going to spend hours and hours playing a super old game. Because why not? Yeah. Yeah, as far as religion, I've pivoted pretty far the other way. Again, grew up super Mormon, did everything, went to the Mormon college, served a mission for a couple years trying to convince other people to be Mormon, and got to a certain point and it was like, I don't really believe this is true anymore, and I haven't looked for much more. So I'm at the point where I'm like, whatever's out there is out there, and nothing I do right now is going to change what happens after this life. I can just try to be the best person I can and hope if there is a God, he takes pity on me, and if there's not, then enjoy my life now and do the best I can to be a decent human being, you know? If that's enough for whatever higher power's out there, great. If not, then sucks to be me, I guess. Ah, that's an eel. Minigame deaths don't count. That's not a death. Just to be clear. That one really doesn't count.
Steady boy. Here comes a big one.
I used to do this game well enough that I could do this minigame and not miss any fish pretty consistently, and these days I'm not quite there, but I probably pass it more times than I fail, so I'll count that as a win. This little fishing minigame.
Steady boy.
So It's one of those times I really wish we could just use the D-pad though. Oh, thanks, buddy. To the left. Why didn't I think of that?
Steady, boy. Here comes a big one.
You get this far into it and it's like, I don't really care if I miss any fish, I just cannot get one of the pink ones.
You did it!
Yay!
You caught 200 pounds of fish. Not bad for a couple of landlubbers.
Yeah! Oh my
Here's
goodness.
the power cell I promised. And you can use my boat in the village.
It's one of those things that like it feels like a hallmark of the older games. You had to have some mini games and there has to be a fishing one of some kind. And it's gotta be kind of janky. I do love the fact that after you complete the game, anytime you go back to Forbidden Jungle, he's just back there cackling. Like this guy has nothing better to do with his life for the rest of his life than to just kind of sit there and laugh at a full basket of fish. Again, one of those things where probably a modern game he would just disappear or go back to his house or something. It's just kind of a relic of older games, you know? It's kind of nice. Got that nostalgia going. Did I get everything from Forbidden Jungle? I think so, yeah. That's right. Those are mushroom fish, I believe is what they are, right? That's,
Let's go check out old Fish Brett's speedboat at the dock.
let's not. Let's do Misty Island last. Also, I don't remember if you can skip the cutscenes on the ports. Like, I think you said you were playing on PS5 for this when you were playing, and I don't know. I hope they added the ability to skip cutscenes. I feel like in the original games you couldn't, but and just those little quality of life improvements that get added in over time make things a lot more tolerable. Ratchet and Clank, maybe. I do have all the ISOs. I do play them occasionally. I probably wouldn't be doing any kind of like specific challenge just because those were never really staple games that I feel like I'm really good at. But I might play through them. They're fun. I really enjoy them. The original PS2 ones. Some of the new ones are good. Some of them are bad. It's really just kind of a crapshoot. What is it? A Rift Apart is the new one. I really enjoyed that one on PS5. Had a fun time. Haven't finished it yet. I don't I don't know how I get so distracted, but it's a really fun game. Ratchet and Rivet together, if you've played, it's been really good times.
Pelican just snagged a power cell. Let's go kick some big bird butt.
Man, they can shoot those far. I know, right? And like, it's wild because some of the side games are just hang on. Oh, it was probably a floating bomb. There was something in the air back in that cutscene. I realized playing through this, at least on open goal, I don't know if it's how this happens on the ports. When you get a power cell, the entire world just freezes around you during that dance cutscene. So it's kind of wild. You can have like an enemy jumping at your face, and they're just kind of dancing back and forth. I thought that was funny. Like 9 or something. Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, there's mainline games and there's like what feel like side games. And some of the side games are really good. Into the Nexus, I think, was one that didn't get a lot of positive attention when it came out, as far as I recall. But played through with my wife, or maybe I'm thinking of All for One. So there's a multiplayer game, and it feels like that would have been All for One. You could play as Ratchet and Clank and as Dr. Nefarious, I think, was one of the playable characters, and played through with my wife, and it was a good time. Pirate one, Quest for Booty, I think, is that one. And the last two Rift Apart, and I don't remember what was before that. I've played a handful of them. I played the original ones on PS2 up through Deadlocked. Deadlocked here in the North America, what is it, like Renegade or something overseas? Yeah, Clank as Secret Agent Clank. Yeah, I never tried that one. Yeah, a lot of them seem like they were less than ideal. I'm kind of a YouTube junkie, and I've watched through like all the videos from a channel called The Golden Bolt. Really good. He goes through a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games and just kind of goes through the story and breakdown and review of each game, and kind of also goes into the behind the scenes of the development as well. So really entertaining if you like that. He goes through all of them, I think. Other games as well, but again, he's called the Golden Bolt for a reason. He's a Ratchet and Clank focused YouTuber. Good times, good times. He's growing really well. They're all pretty long. Well, depending on what you're into. Long for YouTube videos from a few years ago. Kind of not so much anymore with the new meta. The way YouTube's going, things are just getting longer and longer. But they're typically an hour to 2 hours, and he goes through the games pretty thoroughly. If I remember, an hour to 2 hours. I could be completely wrong. But they're fun. Love the Ratchet and Clank games. My hesitation about whether or not I was going to play through them was not in any way because I don't enjoy them, mainly just because I'm not sure how to make that type of stuff entertaining to watch. I guess I could just play through it and just be normal. But yeah. I really should go get Blue Eco. It makes these dives a lot easier, just to have that slight magnetism or whatever. I'm too lazy to swim over there though. Yeah, so I would play N64 games at my buddy's house because he had one. So I played a little bit of GoldenEye. That was classic. Loved things like 1080 snowboarding. Still love Tony Hawk. The Tony Hawk remaster that they did a few years ago is great. But I guess my gaming tastes are probably still stuck back in like the late 90s, early 2000s era games, and that's just where I'm at. It's just kind of where I got stuck in, I guess, as far as my taste. And again, I like newer games. Love Baldur's Gate. Love the Soulsborne games. And I just... you don't get as much time to game once you're a parent. I'm sure you get it. BMX versus ATV. SSX. Yes, SSX tricky. That's the one that I really cut my teeth on. Like, that was a fun one. I know that those controls are just like... there's the kind of thing that took me a while to get, but once you get it, it's just so intuitive. Just the sticks for tricks and things like that, and sticks for spins, I guess, rather than buttons. BMX versus ATV. I don't think I ever played that one. I did like a motocross and ATV one. It was like MX versus ATV or something. It might have been similar, but that was kind of wild. My uncle was really into racing games, and he gave us our first video game consoles when we were young kids. He gave us a Sega Genesis. And basically everything that came with that Genesis that he gave us was racing related. He had this game, I think it was called Hard Drivin'. I always thought was just the silliest name for a game. But man, it was difficult. Difficult in the way those old school games are, where it's like, I don't know if it's a skill issue or if it's that the game is just bad. You just can't make it more than 5 minutes into the game without dying, and you've restarted the beginning every time, and it's just, those style of old games. Tony Hawk's. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I've had racing games for as long as I've had video games, and I've never been good at them. I enjoy them, a lot of them. I liked the Need for Speed series. Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original PS2 one. Rip Your Hair Out games, exactly, those ones. And like a lot of them, I think came because the design philosophy at the time was to design for arcades, to design for the people where you're going to have a short turn, and they want you to come back and put your nickel in again or whatever, and keep playing through there. And so it's just a different style of game where, well, A, the technology was a lot younger. They didn't have as many tools as they do now. They didn't have as wide of an audience. It wasn't as marketable. I get it. It's just, you know, they were a pain in the ass to go back to. Yeah, my kids, again, I am into emulation quite a bit, so I've got them each like little handhelds, little Linux handhelds. They're Anbernic devices, and just load them up with ROMs and emulators. They can run most old systems like Genesis and NES and SNES. Hot Pursuit, yeah, I'll have to go check that out. I played Hot Pursuit a little bit. Was that PS1 though? I think that was before Most Wanted. Super fun games. Those old Need for Speed games. Those are great. I would sit and I'd have my buddy over, and we would just spend too long in Most Wanted just customizing the paint jobs of our cars and upgrading them, and just driving around the city just to look at your car. Of course, you got to turn the vehicle damage off because you don't want to drive carefully, but you want your car to look nice, right? So that type of game I've always been into. Midnight Club and Need for Speed, but the more, you know, racing sims, I just don't have the patience to learn the racing lines and actually get good at them, so they weren't as fun for me. First in the collection? Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, again, it's been so long. But yeah, I get my kids these little handhelds, so they've got all these games that I played as a kid on different systems. They can access them all on one little handheld device, and it was like, I don't know, they're like $60 each, so they're not super cheap, but they're also, for the amount of entertainment my kids have gotten out of them, I think it was worth it for us. Birdwatcher, Explore the Beach. I don't remember what I'm missing. Have I done the seagull? I think I did the seagull. Yeah, pelican, sorry. Chase the seagulls. Egg from the birdwatcher. Oh, I haven't climbed to the top of the cannon thing yet. Yeah. Underground Midnight Club, yeah. I mean, there's those old school, like, super... I guess that's what it is. Oh, I didn't get that power cell out there. That like underground racing style, where it's like as much about the aesthetic and the lifestyle or whatever, that romantic, like the Fast and the Furious game, basically, not Fast and Furious branded, because I imagine that would suck if those are real games. Yeah, and like again with the emulators that come out these days, and just the tools that you have to just add quality of life improvements to old games and just give them new life. I love it. I think it's amazing. And you know, it might be a little bit legally gray, but I have no moral problem with it. Like, if I've paid for these games on systems at some point, and I can no longer access them or run them, I don't really care what the technical law says. I'm gonna play them anyway. It's not like I'm taking a sale from the developers. Like, I can't pay the people that made these games anymore, so what do I care? I am absolutely not opposed to paying people for their work, and I think that, you know, game developers especially these days don't get the respect they deserve, and I'm happy to pay for a game if it's easy to pay for and easy to play. If you're gonna make me jump through a bunch of hoops though, and it's not polished, or there's problems with it, or it runs better on something else that you want to sell it to me on, you know, I'm a little bit more flexible. I'm gonna call it flexible. But yeah, I think it's great. I love it. Why is that scout fly box open? Luigi is the main trainer for Emerald. Oh, I love that. That's great. I am not that technically skilled. I haven't done a lot of work actually doing things like that, so... My kids are getting into modding Minecraft, though. They use a program, or I guess a website, a web app called Tinker. And they make different textures and things like that. And they love it. And I think it's great. I think it's great practice for them. It's just something that I haven't done a whole lot of. When I was a kid, I thought that the dream job, what I wanted to do when I got old, was be a video game tester. I thought that'd be great, because you just get paid to play video games. Then I got older and I realized what a crappy job that would be, just sitting and trying to go through the same thing over and over, trying to find any bug and play it slightly differently in QA testings and get crap pay. And anyway, point is, you get older, you learn, things change. It sounded great before, it may not sound as good anymore. Alright, it looks like I will probably make it back to Misty Island tonight. See if we can finish that level. Alrighty. What do I got left here? I think I got them all. Ooh, missing 16 precursor orbs. Did I get... it doesn't look like I did. Gotta get that precursor thing up there. Oh, the other big ones I played a lot when I was younger were the Spyro games. I thought those were great too. I grew up with, after that Genesis that my uncle had given us, my main consoles were always PlayStations, so went through all the original Spyro games, and those were fantastic. I think the Reignited trilogy really did wonders for those. Those are fantastic. Tried to get my kids into them, and they didn't really feel the spark. Maybe they'll like them when they're a little bit older. Again, they're still pretty young, but maybe not. They'll find their own hobbies and their own passions, and that's great. I'm gonna try to find some in common, though, you know. Yeah. Maybe. That's one thing that I think that I don't know. I like to think that there's hope for that you can get good competitive scenes going, and it's just so hard. There's gonna be so much competition because, again, like, it's video games. They're such a popular medium right now. Exactly. Exactly. Introduce them to as much things and hope that they find stuff that they enjoy and they like and that they're worth, they want to pursue. And again, as much as possible, try to take an interest in the things that they like too. Yeah, again, I'm not much of an artist, but my kids like drawing. They go to drawing classes, so I try to sit down and scribble out some chicken scratch with them occasionally when I get the chance. Show them things I like, show them video games, things like that, and as they get older, more different mediums and movies and all that other stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how things go as they get older, but you know, all you can do is the best you can do. Anyway, I've never been into the competitive scene because, yeah, my parents weren't crazy about video games in the first place, and definitely not anything like online gaming. I know I wanted to get into online gaming, and my parents kind of shut that down. I thought I was too young to be playing online with strangers and didn't really get how it worked and things like that, so I missed out when I was young and better at gaming, and now that I'm older, I don't know, I've tried to do like a couple seasons of Rocket League and things like that that are relatively low. I don't want to say low skill cap because things get intense there, but you know, you can get into some leagues that are decently competitive and fairly well balanced and split apart and enjoy those. But I just, you know, it's hard if you don't have time to practice and get good. You just kind of get your ass handed to you a lot when you're league, and you just end up watching yourself drop and drop and drop if you take some time off. At least that's how it was for me. So competitive gaming and I will probably never really mesh either, but it's all good. It's for other people, and I enjoy gaming and gaming. Oh, I don't want to say gaming culture. That sounds bad, and there's a lot of parts of gaming culture that I don't like, but I enjoy games and the idea behind them, and talking about games with other people and playing games with other people. So in that regard, I think competitive would be fun because you get a lot of people around you like-minded and stuff. But again, it gets so too many sweaty tryhards, I guess is what I'll say. Co-op story guy, yeah, I love that. And when I can play, I make my wife play games with me sometimes. She enjoys them. I say make. She enjoys them too, but she didn't grow up with as much of a gamer, so it's kind of a thing she started when she was older too, and just trying to find games that we both enjoy and are on a similar skill level, or at least flexible enough in skill that one person doesn't feel completely left behind. We can play them together. That's fine. We really liked a game. Wow, this is years ago. It's been a while since we really gamed together. We really liked a game called Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. You're on like a spaceship and there's different tasks to do. Like one person's going to be controlling the guns while another person runs the engines, and it's very much a cooperative, got to talk together and work things out because you're going to have enemies coming at you while you're trying to fly in a different direction, and it's just one of those kind of chaotic, kind of like Overcooked, I guess. League of Legends. Nice, love it. Oh, mine, I used to play StarCraft 2 with my brother-in-law. We'd go to some LAN parties with him, things like that, so that was mine. That was my friendship ruiner. Horror games, yeah, okay. I can see that. Oh yeah, I honestly, like, the thing is, I got into StarCraft 2 because my brother-in-law played it, so like he and all his friends played it all the time, and they were like, yeah, they kicked ass at that game. They were real good, and I was learning, and that was back when I was like gaming regularly, and I could pick it up pretty well. But you know, with real-time strategy games, there's a bit of a steep learning curve. So I didn't do great. I enjoyed it though, a lot of fun. There was some red eco. I lost it. Oh, this is gonna go very well. There's some. There we go. Sorry, I need to focus for just a minute here. It sucked to die right here. Squadron Tower Defense last night. No arcade requesting to what it's called. I have not logged on to StarCraft 2 in years, to be perfectly honest with you, so if there's anything new-ish in there, I don't know anything about it. Ooh, got some jitters going on. Love it. Also, since I got you here, haven't really been able to check that well myself. How's the audio levels? Is my mic good? Do I need to turn things up, turn things down? Can you hear the game? Let me know. Great, awesome, fantastic. Yeah, I kind of, streaming is something that I watch occasionally, and I've always kind of been interested in starting streaming, so over the course of several years, I've picked up too much stuff for streaming. I've got a decent mic and mixer and like a whole setup here, so using OBS, try to monitor all the levels, but, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, so appreciate it, thank you. Hi, friend. I got a good feeling about this run. I think we're gonna make it. Gonna get through Misty Island finally. I'm not gonna worry about killing those guys. They're not worth it. Ah, didn't make it. All right. Gonna have to go back. Might be worth it later. Might have to kill those mud guys. I already forgot. I think I went up here. Yeah, I did. Alright, this is cleared out. Cool, cool. I'm gonna go up anyway because I already started. Alright. Some of these timings on these runs to get the precursor orbs, especially, man, there's one off the second village, off of by the Blue Sage's hut. You have to get the blue eco and like roll dash as fast as you possibly can to try to get one of those things to pop open. It's always been a little bit frustrating. Oh, I should have stopped. Oh well. I am going to stop collecting green eco so that if I take some hits and need some, I've got some to come back to. Let's play this smart, eh? Alright. Let's do this. That was bad. It's alright, it's alright. We're gonna make it. Top of the ramp. I guess I probably should have cleared out those lurkers first. Didn't realize you could hit them up here. Dang it. Forgot I'm going for 100%. Can't leave that. Alright, alright. Yeah. Got that stuff down there. Don't need to drop down. Let's get up there. Ah! It's alright. Alright, we made it to the top. I'm feeling good about this. I feel like we could finish Misty Island. I feel like we could get this tonight. Just don't do anything stupid.
I have to admit, I'm impressed. You two didn't screw up.
Funds are running out, yeah.
Open that silo. They can't flood the world with dark eco and cause untold destruction.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like,
The two of you have plenty to do. Get up.
streaming is very popular now, so I was saying the other day to probably an empty stream. I don't know. I don't really watch my stats all that much, and people haven't really chatted before tonight. But I'm not getting into streaming because I expect it to go anywhere, to really get any followers. It's mainly just a way to just kind of play games and invite people to come hang out and chat if they want to. And if there's people that want to come talk, great. And if not, then I'll just play through the games and talk to myself. Like, I'm good at that. And I'm a little bit crazy anyway. But yeah, so I really enjoy streaming so far. I used to do... It's funny, we've got kind of a similar story, it sounds like. I was in finance for about 9 years. I bounced around to a couple different companies in that time, a couple different positions, but one of the jobs I was at, I hated it, couldn't stand it. Ended up quitting and kind of living off of savings for about 6 months. And that was relatively recently. I got another job at another company making a little bit less. Money was tight because we'd been off work for a little while, and I was the only income earner at that point. So my wife decided she wanted to do a side business and start working as a bookkeeper. And she started a little business, got a few clients here and there, and then it kind of took off. She got a couple really big clients, and then started getting a bunch of referrals, and so her little side business was making twice as much as I was making with my day job. She picked up health insurance from one of her clients. They hired her as a W-2, and I became a stay-at-home dad about 6 months ago. So it's been weird. It's been a different transition, different life. Really good. I mean, it's a very good move for me specifically. I love getting to spend time with my kids, but it's a different kind of draining, man. It's a lot. Full custody of your daughter. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah. Getting time with your daughter is great. I'm glad you got custody. That's fantastic. But yeah, we were without a job for a little while. I think that was last year, so we're still kind of trying to financially recover from that. But we're fortunate. We're really lucky people. We're in a good spot right now. We've got good family. And again, like, we have a safety net to fall back on if things go completely south. So again, we're lucky. We're luckier than a lot of people, and I try to keep that in mind. But yeah, man, you know, the world's tough sometimes. Money's tight. Things get more expensive. Fun is expensive. Fun is expensive, and just do the best you can, right? That's all you can do. So yeah, I pieced together a setup over probably a couple years in total of buying microphone and mixer. Just look for things that are on good deals, and oh, that looks cool, and if I ever decide to start streaming, I could use that. And I've had a bunch of stuff sitting around, and my wife is kind of like, why did you buy any of this? And I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll get used more regularly now. It seems like it's a fun thing to do, so it's nice. I'm trying to do a little bit more for relaxation after the kids are in bed, since it's kind of like being on call 24/7. I'm sure you know that if you're sole custody. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on. If that kid is not feeling good, or they have a bad dream or whatever, like, it doesn't matter what time, day or night, you need to be available for it. So there's always that little bit of stress, you know. It's good. I'm not trying to complain. Really happy. Love my kids. They're fantastic. Nice. Yeah, I keep meaning to stop back in on your streams, but I get tired. Oh yeah, winter break. So we've got another week of winter break. My daughter, I've got one daughter and 3 sons, and my daughter, she got sick the week before winter break. So she was gone Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of school that week. They had Monday through Thursday before Christmas. And I let her go back to school because she'd been on antibiotics, and I was relatively sure whatever she had, she probably wouldn't spread anymore. But she was still kind of miserable. But it was you know, that was their holiday party. It was the last day before break, and she wanted to go see all her friends. I was like, you know what, go. And she was just exhausted by the end of the day, poor thing. But she got to go. She got to do her holiday party. So I don't know, probably the right call. Who knows? She's had the rest of break to get better. She got my wife. Well, she passed it to my son, who didn't get it quite as bad as she did. So his first week of break wasn't super fun for him. My wife is sick now, so we'll see. Hopefully I don't get it, but well, I don't. Kids, man, they're like walking petri dishes. Did I get? Oh, tight. I think I finished Misty Island. Yeah. Yeah, so my kids go back in about a week. They've got a week and a day off. Alright, don't jump off stupidly. Where's my boat, though? I think it's down there. What am I hitting when I'm rolling that is making him get hurt? I don't know. Oh, it's so funny. Alright, let's go return the muse. Yeah, and it's funny because my wife was homeschooling the kids, mainly because we were very Mormon. And now we're very not Mormon, so kids are in public school, partially because, A, the reasons we didn't want them in school don't really... Thanks, Kira, shut up. Don't really apply anymore, and quite frankly, like, I was not up for homeschooling them, so when it was decided that I was taking over, I was like, great, I will finish out this semester of homeschool, because it was April or May time frame, late May, so they were pretty much done. And then they were going to public school, because I can't do homeschool. I don't have the patience. I'm not a teacher, and quite frankly, I want them to meet other kids and do things like that. Gotta return the muse. Don't forget. All right. Liza P. I've heard good things. Is Liza P fun? Oh man, starting her period. That's a huge one. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that when my daughter starts. I mean, like, I'm lucky. I've got my wife here, and she can take the brunt of that, I guess. But good on you, man. I'm sure you're doing a great job. Good work. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the atmosphere is creepy and good, just like not just like a Soul, but kind of that similar vibe. And here the controls are pretty tight, so hopefully, I don't know. Eventually, I'll buy it at some point. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say I don't ever really plan on like streaming bigger or newer games or anything like that, just because. Yeah. I'm not good at them, but I might make an exception, and I might stream Baldur's Gate 3 or something. I don't know. Again, I'm not really chasing views, but yeah, you get more people in, hanging out, chatting, could be fun. Baldur's Gate might be a good one just because there's not a whole lot of stuff that you have to worry about timing and getting things like that. Yeah. Oh, is it on Game Pass? I have Game Pass. Back when they came out with Game Pass and they were offering that whole thing like, oh, upgrade your Xbox Gold to Game Pass or whatever for like $1, and then they convert all your existing time into Game Pass Ultimate or whatever. I went on eBay and bought a bunch of like cheap Game Pass Gold passes and stocked up my account, so I had like the maximum time. It was like 3 or 4 years of it loaded into my account and then converted for $1. So I've got years stacked up now. Damn it, I missed that. Oh well. Although I say that and it's been years, I'm probably almost done. We'll have to see if I keep paying for it at that point, because it's a great resource for a lot of good games, you know, so it might be worth it. Oh shit, I might not make it. Oh, I got the scout flies. It might be. I think they said that they implemented crossplay on it. I'm not positive though. We'll see. Old Blockbuster, yeah. My family was a Hollywood Video family. I think it was like $1 cheaper to rent there or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was just closer to our house. I don't remember. I was a kid. Holy hell, this is the farthest I've gotten. You're good luck, man.
I don't think I'll ever get used to that teleporter
Oh, nice.
tingling sensation.
Yeah, I will say, like, I feel like in general Microsoft has done gaming fairly well. I like the direction they're taking things. I like the fact that they make things cross-play fairly regularly, and they make things, you know, if you get Game Pass, I mean, you have to do the right Game Pass, but you can play on PC or Xbox, and it seems like they're not tying things as much to hardware as Sony is, or definitely Nintendo. Oh, the Fire Canyon? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It's just I've done it so many times at this point that I don't know. I don't deal with them anymore. I'm honestly, I think that I'm gonna have to make an exception though in my no death policy, because I don't think that I can make it through that last Agrav Zoomer section between the Red Sage's Hut and Golemaya's Citadel. Like, I don't think I can make it through that without dying. I don't know that I can do that. I don't think I've ever made it through there in one go, so I might have to make an exception and say that one doesn't count. Mario Party. Man, I missed out on the good Mario Party games apparently, because I grew up with PlayStation, and when I got older, I had my consoles that I had from my family. Couldn't really afford to buy consoles when we were just starting out and shit like that, so the only real Mario Party that I've played with any amount of I guess regularity, or I've played very much at all, is whatever the one on the Switch is. Is it 10 or something? And it's fine, but I don't know, like, there's like 4 maps, and there's not a really great way to save, or to kind of like, it's not really a pick up and put down game. Like, you have to be committed to that game once you start, because when you, I don't know, and maybe I'm misremembering, maybe it's not as bad as I remember, maybe you can save in the middle, but I don't remember being able to. So, you know, when we were young parents and have to drop anything at a moment's notice to go take care of your kid, like, it's hard to get into that. Oh no, did I forget to do the precursor orbs in Sandover Village? Not precursor, yeah, the precursor oracle. I did, I forgot those. Teleports. This one. Trying to get this eco to open that little precursor egg bar thing over there. It's always a pain in the butt. Okay, of course I'm going to get it the first time this time, now that I'm complaining about it. I almost always have to take like 5 or 6 attempts at that, trying to roll through with the eco. How many precursor orbs do I have right now? 210. I shouldn't have spent those 90. Oh well. I'll go do another level here, and then after I finish that, I'll go back and get those oracle ones. I say that, I promise I'm going to forget. And then I'm going to get to the end of the game and beat Gall and Maya and be like, why don't I have all the precursor orbs? Or not precursor orbs, power cells. Sure, let's do the canyon. I feel like I should probably stop while I don't feel too exhausted before I die and ruin this great run so far. Again, any success I have tonight I'm attributing to you, so thanks for being here. Appreciate it. It's the furthest I've made it in my no deaths run. Oh no. Oh no. Didn't make it up there. Go, go, go. also just like,
We beat the record time. That's one of those flying lurkers. He might have a power cell.
I feel bad for this this racetrack that I can come in and screw it up that badly and still get the best record on the course. Like, that badly. It wasn't that bad, but you know, I hit some walls and should not have been a record time. That's all I'm saying. You can tell this is a kid's game. Switches to Mario Parties. Maybe I got the bad one for the Switch then. I don't know. The map is remastered. Is that if you have the Switch Online? I think I... Honestly, I probably pay for that. I pay for too much as far as gaming that I don't always use. Yeah. I also don't play the Switch as much as I used to be perfectly honest. I downloaded Yuzu on my Ally, so if I play Switch games, I'm typically playing it on my handheld, on my ROG Ally. The emulation just works pretty well for most games that I play anyway. I know it's kind of hit or miss, but I enjoy it, and I can easily switch between that or Game Boy or PS3 or whatever. Like the Ally, seriously, if you can swing a Steam Deck or an Ally at some point, like, you're set for a long time. Between emulation and any existing library of games you've got, highly recommend them. The battery life sucks though, so they're not an unequivocal recommend for me. Dang, fell. But they are fun. If you get some extra cash at some point, you can spend it on yourself instead of your daughter. Treat yourself. Handheld gaming with the ability to dock it for more power with the Ally and run most games at playable resolutions and playable frame rates. Love it. Come on, dude. What? I do not know why these guys are always so hard for me as well. Also, whoever made the decision to put them wearing diapers, like, I don't know if they get a raise or if they get fired, but they get something. The Switch? Yeah. I assume you're talking about the Switch is what you're talking about. I got a Switch because they're awesome. And to be honest, I didn't used to, I'll just say I didn't used to sail the seas as much as I'm inclined to these days. Again, my general philosophy on a lot of things is like, if you make it reasonable and easy and you know, make it not a hassle for me to buy your games, and I will buy your games. Like, I want to support developers who are making games that I like. I pay money for free-to-play games. If I'm enjoying them, I'll buy skins just to kick a little money to the developers or whatever. Like, I want to support people that are making games, but when a game is 30 years old and to buy a legitimate copy is still, you know, $50, like, no way. No way. Get out of here. That's not going to the people that made the game. That's going to, you know, whoever bought the rights to that 20 years down the line and like, cool, I'm glad you own this piece of paper, but you're not selling it anymore. You're sitting on it to keep the IP out of the public. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I like paying for games when possible, and when doing so actually provides a tangible benefit to the people that actually work to make the games. And apart from that, like, nah, get out of here. I'll do it how I want, thanks. Which, you know, again, everybody's going to have their own lines as what they think is okay. Some people pirate anything, new games, old games, whatever. Quite frankly, I don't care. You do you. But, yeah, I try to be reasonable, but again, give me an excuse to give you money for your games and make it easy to give you money for your games, and I will. I mean, like, again, I want to support things that I enjoy. Fire Emblem, I have not played any of the Fire Emblem's games. Oh yeah, that as well. It's like, Humble Bundles are great if you ever do those. wait and get a bunch of them on sale that are similar from the same developer or something like that. Sales. The problem is, again, like Nintendo, man, those guys don't put anything on sale. I know they do occasionally, it's just, it's hard. So, yeah, and specifically, like, if I'm playing a Nintendo Switch game on my Ally or something, I will buy a copy for the Switch because, again, I want to support the developers that are making games I like, and if I like it enough to get it running on a separate device it wasn't meant to run on, clearly I like the game, so I'll typically buy a copy, and then I'll find another copy to play on my handheld, and that's the one I'll actually play. And either the kids will get a copy if it's a game they want to play and they can play it, or it just sits in a case. I honestly don't know. I thought they were. I think they're still a thing. I'm not sure though. I could be wrong. I think Baldur's Gate 3 might be one of the only games I've actually bought this year. Again, I went through a period where I wasn't really working, so I'm trying to not go too crazy with stuff, and my backlog of games is big enough with some great titles as far as like review and reputation that I just don't need to buy that much right now. I'm in a fortunate position in that sense, so I guess I haven't looked for a while. I thought Humble Bundles were still a thing though. I know HumbleBundle.com is still a thing, and they have like their own storefront and everything. I don't know if they still do just the bundles though. I think they do though. Yeah, I know they do still have a storefront, and I think you can do like a subscription to them, but... Ooh. Thanks, Daxter. Appreciate the update. Didn't know that. Yeah, because I feel like they've branched into like doing bundles for like books as well, and like programming courses, and they do a whole bunch of different stuff now. I would, but if I destroy them and then go heal myself, I don't have to worry about them later. And I might not be ready for them. And they've got this convenient source of free healing, so... I mean, honestly, like, as much as I was saying I think Microsoft has been doing things well with, like, crossplay and making things available on PC and Xbox and not tying it to the hardware as much, like, Sony kills it when it comes to single-player, story-driven games, like, you know, buy once, cry once type things where you don't have to buy 16 different DLC packs or whatever, like, I don't know, I'm a little bit jaded these days, but... Sony, like, you can buy a single-player game from Sony and have just such a great time. They do great work. New God of War games. I know there's others that I'm not thinking of right now. Ooh, didn't see that one. Like, they're killing it with single-player, though. Oh, they're not actually a shield for it. Like, I was still taking damage, but it does fill you up to, like, full health. So if you hit it once, you just drop down to the 3 pieces, and then I just go refill my health. Hey, no worries. I mostly understand what you're saying, and I mostly am paying attention. Now, I don't think there's been anything you've said that I didn't understand what you were saying, so you're all good, man. Autocorrect, man. Amazing and awful at the same time. Yeah, when I was chatting in your stream the other day when you were doing Jak Daxter, I was on my phone as well, so I'm sure there was some wonky stuff trying to tell you spider caves or whatever, but like, you got it. You figured it all out. These gamers can multitask. That's what we all pretend, right? like there was somewhere else I need to go off this jump up there, but I don't remember where. Oh, I do remember. Okay. I need to go back to the other half of the level and do the pink rings over there, and then there'll be a blue rings challenge over here. It is amazing how much of this game I can forget considering how recently I've played it. Yeah, but basically I was just using that green eco healing to just tank the damage.
A bunch to go.
And if you want, you can go through and do that for the whole level. Just go kill a few obstacles, come back and heal up again, go kill a few more obstacles. I don't have that kind of patience, and I, knock on wood, rarely die in this level, so just gonna kill some around the immediate area and then move on. There we go. Fortunately, it doesn't matter if it's a stack of 8, it only does 1 damage. How far away is this? Man, how many are there? Gotta be almost done, right? I think it's here. Don't fall. Oh, shit.
Quick! You've got to fly through each ring before they turn off.
Thanks, Daxter. Appreciate the information. Didn't know that before. Damn it. Oh well. Alright. I don't proofread unless talking. Work for daughter's mom. That's right. Now, honestly, like, God, I remember thinking Daxter was the funniest video game character ever when I was a kid. Now I'm like, I can still appreciate the great work that the voice actor did, and like, I think it's amazing, but I'm just like, yeah, there's a reason I don't watch the cutscenes anymore or really pay attention to what they're saying. It's great for kids. It's still entertaining. Oh, it's fine. It's just, you know, you get older. Things don't hit exactly the same, and he just never shuts up. I tried to turn too fast. And yeah, I've played these games. I talked about it in an earlier stream, but yeah, I forget that nobody watches those. It's not. I play these games probably, if I'm honest, probably at least annually. I gotta go get some health. So I played through them a lot, and I've done a lot of 100%s on them, but I've never tried to go through and do a no death. There's a scout fly over there. Keep that in the back of my mind. I've never tried to do it with no deaths. I've never done it with no deaths, and I was like, I played this game a lot. I'm good at this. I can do this, and it's turned out to be quite a challenge, bigger than I thought. Yeah. Why he turned into an Otzel? You get at least some kind of sort of vague information about that in Jak 3 if you haven't played through that. I mean, I don't think it's really explicit, but... Have you played Jak 3? I know you're playing through Jak 2 now. Is that your first time? What else do I have left? Gambler, blue precursor rings, and then the lightning moles, probably. Yeah, okay, so... At the end of Jak 3, you kind of... There's that kind of goofy reveal that Teenage Me loved as well. That the precursors are basically just Otzels as well. So I guess, like, I don't know if it's fan theory or if it was ever confirmed by the devs or whatever. I don't know, but the idea is just that, like, the precursor's DNA is kind of like woven into the dark eco or something, and so when Daxter fell in, he got like a dose of precursor DNA or something and got turned into one of them. I don't remember, and it's probably not explicit. It's probably like some forum post somewhere, you know, how half the lore in video games gets uncovered and unwound. And I could be completely wrong, but that's just my memory of it, though. Oh, and at one point I played through the Daxter game on PSP. That was interesting. Very different feel to it. I mean, I guess not really. It still felt like Daxter. And it had kind of like the punch and kick controls and stuff. But it was just a different... I think you're an exterminator in that game or something. Kind of wild. Fun, though. It was a decently fun game. I played through the whole thing, so I had to have liked it at least a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, stupid lightning moles. I hate those. They just feel like random, like I'm just running into little creatures for no reason. Gonna pick up some health. I think I need some. I don't remember for sure, but I think I need some. Let's take a look-see. Is it just the lightning moles? Return to the gambler because I beat the course time. Flying lurkers, power cell, dark eco, purple, blue. Oh, come on, those are pink. You're just wrong. That's right, I'm going to argue with the game about what colors the game uses. I'm sure I'm right here. Where's a lightning mole? Something small, can't remember seeing it. Never had a PSP. DS's. Couldn't have both. Yeah. Yeah, I got those Game Boy Colors when I was a kid, and those were super fun, loved them. And my parents were like, that's good, you don't need anything new. So I never got a Game Boy Advance or a DS or anything like that. I got a PSP. I was probably like 25 by that point, so I was full grown adult, and I didn't even buy it for myself. My brother-in-law got it for me, so it's a Christmas gift, I think. Got like a used one at GameStop after they were decently cheap, so. Where the heck are the rest of the fire lizards? Lilac, right? Let's call it Lilac. God, I hate these. What are they, like lightning moles? I don't see any more. I thought I got them all. Can I not do it until I talk to the geologist? Is that why I don't see any out wandering around? I need to leave and come back? Yeah, I'm gonna try anyway. I just don't see any way to do it right now. Oh, come on. I drove over that Parker. See, you can tell I'm getting tired when I'm just making up words. Alright, lady. Ah, I shouldn't have done that. Did I get the cut? No, I didn't get the cutscene for any of them, I don't think. So I think they're just basically all in the hole till you go talk to her. That's gotta be what it is. So I flew all around there and there were like none loose. So let's go back. See how it works. Ah, now they're out and running around. Yep, so apparently we gotta talk to her first. Did not know that. It's new things I'm learning. Come on, get in the hole. And like, I'm sure this is a skill issue, but I hate hurting these things. It's like, they get to choose whether or not they're going in the hole or not. And I just drive around like a random person. Oh, come on, get in there. You're already at the hole. Come on, you're already at the hole. There we go. Alright. Right? I mean, come on. Every animal has at least one back door. There should be 2 or 3 different holes. And man, I remember trying to do this as a kid. My hand-eye coordination was much worse. This was just brutal. The geologist, Daxter. I mean, there's what, like 3 women in the whole world, so I guess he's got to be into one of them. No, that gets more fleshed out in Jak 2, so I can't complain too much. Let's see. What am I at? Oh, I've got plenty. I can still go back. Alright, I think that's my plan for tonight. I'm going to go get the power cell from the geologist, get the power cell from the gambler. I'm going to teleport back up and do the 2 precursor oracles back in Sandover Village so I don't forget later. Because if I do them tonight, I should be good. And then I'll probably call it. That's they will though. That's the thing. It's like, oh, the sunlight is too strong for them. Herd them back into their hole, and then do what? Just let them come right back out again? Video game logic is great. It's just an excuse for fly around for a little bit longer. Take a little bit longer in this level. Jak and Daxter's great because there's a ton of stuff to get. And as far as I am aware, there's only one time in the game, if you know the right way to go through it, that you have to backtrack to collect everything. The only one that I know for sure is the mountain pass between the Blue Sages and the Red Sages huts, between that village and the lava place, the volcano, the volcanic crater. You have to go back through that one again after you've gone to the Snowy Mountain and done the yellow precursor, yellow eco blocker, whatever, after you've turned that off and let the eco flow. But apart from that, I think you can go through the whole thing without having to backtrack, so love it. Exactly. No, man, I was doing so well the other night. I got to Misty Island, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is the farthest I've ever gone. And then I died, and I was just like, oh, it's crushing. Done. Done. Over. So tonight, I think I'm doing fairly well. Again, I've made it as far as I've gotten so far. There were a lot of the trickier parts that I was worried about. See, they've got the, off of that village, you got Boggy Swamp, and I'll probably be fine there. And the Precursor City, that can be tricky, especially with those slides and stuff, but I think it'll be okay. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. We'll get there. Might take some time, but we'll get there. Especially now that I don't have to go back and do that goddamn geyser rock. Jump up and break something. Talking about the mountain pass, you gotta go back and like break open a box to get a power cell. And if you do things the way that the game recommends you do it, like it wants you to go to Sentinel Beach first, but if you do that, then you have to go back to Sentinel Beach after you do the Forbidden Jungle. But like, if you go through correctly, can I use the teleporter? What's going on? Come on. Thank you. Do. Alright. Why do I hear the shark up here? Come on, dude. You're not getting me from here. What do I still have? Got 83 left in the village. Warrior, Gambler, Scout Flies. Scout Fly there, I think. How many am I at? Do. 4. I'm missing 3. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. That shark also when I was a kid, man. That... Just the sound of those heartbeats getting closer and closer was terrifying. Maybe I was just a scared child. I don't know. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna go into the Precursor City and save, and we're gonna call it. We'll pick it back up here next time, whenever that is. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Kids are on break, so go crazy throughout the day, so streaming at night is good, so I might do it tomorrow night as well. We'll see. What am I at, though? 46%. I'll take it. Yeah, Jaws. That's it. Thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. If you're going to stream, I might catch you for a little bit later. If not, then I'll catch you another time when you're on. Alrighty. That will probably be it for a little bit tonight. I can't play anymore. I'm gonna make a mistake and then I'm gonna cry on stream, and I'm just not having that. All right, have a good one. Take care. Peace out.